Hey, it's Grant Napear. Let me talk to you about my friends at DAS Mechanical. If you're considering renovating and or retrofitting your home in 2026, then you need DAS. My friend Nick Delancey's family, they have years of retrofitting experience. They are awesome, and they do both residential and commercial properties. Next year's nearly here, so the time is now. Plan ahead, and the company to plan ahead with is DAS. Don't procrastinate. Make the call. Discuss your renovation project. Get their expert estimate and get your project on DSA's 2026 calendar. Trust me when I say trust Nick and DAS Mechanical. You can book everything online at dasmechanical.org. That's D as in dog, A-S as in Sam, mechanical.org. Check out all of their 5-star reviews and their numerous Best of the Best awards. That's dasmechanical.org.
Looking for the perfect spot to watch the game and enjoy amazing food and drinks? Look no further than Fieldhouse American Sports Pub. Family owned and operated, Fieldhouse is passionate about creating a fun, welcoming atmosphere for everyone. Spice things up on Tuesdays with Taco Tuesday. Buy any order of our delicious tacos and get a refreshing margarita for just $6. On Wednesday, Fieldhouse features incredible drink specials. Enjoy $5 well drinks and ice cold pints all day long. Fieldhouse was voted the #1 sports bar in Sacramento. Tons of TVs, a mouth-watering menu, and daily specials. It's the perfect sports bar to catch all the action. Visit us today at 1833 Fulton Avenue. Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, where the food is fantastic, the drinks are flowing, and the good times never stop. Fieldhouse, bring it to the house.
The holidays are here, and Gabrud Services is here for any electrical need or emergency. Holiday periods put more stress on your home's electrical system, more activity, more lights being used, increased appliance use, and more. Here are 3 holiday electrical reminders from the good dudes at Gabrud's. 1. There's still time for Gabrud's to inspect your home's electrical integrity. 2. Gabrud's are the experts in backup generator installation with flexible financing options to make a whole house generator affordable. And 3. Gabrud's has live call answering 24/7. We're here any time of day, especially in case of an emergency. At Gabrud's, electrical work is all we do. And at the holidays, we're here to ensure your home and family are safe. Locally owned for more than 30 years. Call Gabrud's, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dude at Gabrud's, G-U-B-R-U-D-S, Gabrud's.com.
Tell your friends, Grant's back! Grant Napear is back on the Sacramento airwaves right here. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
Hello!
Hello, Sacramento.
Sacktown!
And welcome in.
Grant Napear. How you been?
You know this guy.
It's your show.
So happy to hear you on the airwaves.
Time to begin.
2+ decades on the radio with you.
Just the start of an incredible journey.
Now he's back on Fox Sports 104.7 FM and 890 AM.
3 to 6 every day, Fox Sports Sacramento.
The phone number?
916-779-0929.
His name? Grant Napear.
Good afternoon. Kings, 49ers, Sean Salisbury. Your calls, your text messages, all on this Tuesday edition of the Grant Napear Show. The Kings actually looked like a team last night. They actually looked like a professional basketball team. They actually looked like a team that you can get behind and go, where's this team been? Is it just one player in Keegan Murray, or is there more to it? Murray was incredible last night. I was so happy for Keegan, not only last night, but in the previous game, because I feel he is one of the most underappreciated Kings, and I have never really understood that. I mean, if you watch the game, and a lot of people do, they equate your offensive productivity with the overall game, right? So if Keegan doesn't have a good game offensively, fans just assume that he was terrible and that he's no good and that they need to trade him and blah, blah, blah. But what he does do every night is he defends. He defends multiple positions. He can defend in the backcourt. He can defend in the front court. He's a professional. He's loved by everybody on the team. Last night he played 44 minutes. He had 26 points on 19 shots. He had 14 rebounds. And he was the best player on the floor. You know, the Kings looked like they were down and out. There were 2 minutes and 51 seconds left in the game, and the Kings were down 10. And Minnesota made some of the most bizarre, like, what are you doing type of plays. Like, I would characterize the game this way. That was a really good win for Sacramento and a really bad loss for Minnesota. That's how I would characterize the game. The Kings didn't shoot the ball particularly well, 43%. They were only 27% from three. If I told you before the game that the Kings would shoot 43% and 27% from three, you would say there's no way they're going to win. But they did. And one of the main reasons, not the only reason, one of the main reasons was the play of Murray. And again, I'm happy for him because he's just a really, really good quality person, and he's a really good player. You know, the fact that he may never be an all-star, and I said may, doesn't mean that he's not a really good player. Maybe he will be an all-star someday. I don't know. But, you know, you can be a really good player in the league and not be an all-star. Okay? Like, don't go crazy over this. Just watch the game and see how effective he is when he's on the floor. The Kings have a big mountain to climb. They put themselves in a big, big hole. Forget about the way the standings look. The reality is, when you look at the standings, the Sacramento Kings have a long way to go. Okay? They are 5-13. And they play Phoenix tomorrow, who's coming off a big loss last night to Houston. They got blown out 114-92. But they're off to a really good start. I'm talking about the Phoenix Suns. And I'm not surprised. I thought they would be a much better team this year. And they still don't have Jalen Green. And when they get him back, watch out. They're 11-7. They're 11-7, and they've won 8 of 10. So they're coming off a loss. But again, they're 11-7. So keep that in mind as you get ready for the game tomorrow. And then you look at the two games over the weekend. Utah, 5-12, but I would say they're better than their record indicates. I would say that you're going to have to really be focused in on that game. And then you come back and play Memphis. And, of course, Memphis showed Sacramento something last week, and the Kings need to show them a little payback on Sunday. So that's your schedule ahead. And there's, again, a big mountain to climb. A big mountain to climb. So look at the game in 5-game increments. That's how I've always done it. You look at it in 5-game increments. And right now the Kings have 2 more games left in these 5, and then we'll grade them for these 5 games. But it's certainly been a big improvement the last 2 games. So I'm going to talk more about that. We've got some sound from Doug Christie, Keegan Murray, DeMar DeRozan that we're going to play here in a little bit. I want to get to the 49ers and what I watched last night. Brock Purdy was not good. I mean, there's just no other way to say it. I was very like, what is going on here? The 49ers last night won the game. They beat Carolina. It was an ugly game. I don't know if how many people were focusing on the Kings, how many people were watching the 49ers game. Maybe you were watching both because obviously the 49ers game started an hour and 45 minutes before the Kings. I don't know what your viewing habits are when the Kings are going head-to-head with the 49ers. But what I do know is Brock Purdy was not good. And that type of performance, assuming that the 49ers make the playoffs, and I would think that they will, and we'll get to that in a moment, the Niners won an ugly game I don't even know what else to say other than that. An ugly game. They're now 8-4. But what happened to Brock Purdy last night? He had 3 interceptions in the first half, and you're just asking yourself, what's he looking at? 23 of 32 for 193 and 3 interceptions all in the first half. Not good. Not good. I'll tell you who is really good, and we talk about him every single week, is Christian McCaffrey. 24 carries, 89 yards, which is not a great per average, but the fact is the offense goes through Christian McCaffrey. 7 catches, 53 yards. And then, of course, the ugly incident during the game and after the game that we will get into. I'm just blown away at the stupidity of athletes with cameras everywhere now to think that you can give a cheap shot to the magnitude that we saw last night with Carolina's Trayvon Moehrig and what he did to Jawan Jennings. The NFL today, by the way, suspended Moehrig for 1 game for punching Jennings in the groin. And according to Adam Schefter of ESPN, Moehrig's appealing the penalty. I guess why not? You have nothing to lose. But can you imagine him winning that appeal? Come on. And if the suspension is upheld, he would not play this week against the Rams. What are you thinking about? Seriously. How stupid can you be? I mean, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you thinking about? It's just unbelievable to me. Seriously, what are you thinking about? What's going on here? How many times are we going to see a player? We saw it on opening night with Carter of the Eagles spitting in the direction of Dak Prescott. Like, what are you doing? How stupid are you? And yet we see it almost every single week, do we not? We see it all the time. And you lose a game check. Look at what happened to Jamar Chase this week. Look at how much money that cost him. $500,000. That's right, $500,000. Is that worth it? Was that worth it? Amazing to me. 916-779-0929 if you want to call the show. Do you agree with me on Brock Purdy last night? And listen, am I ready to say, gee, go to Mac Jones? No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, if the 49ers are going to compete in the playoffs, assuming they make the playoffs, and again, I think that they will, looking at their schedule. They do it. Listen, this game coming up Sunday in Cleveland is not going to be easy because you played on a Monday night, so you lose a day. You have to go on a 4-hour flight to Cleveland. A lot of times you're dealing with weather at this time of the year. You should win that game. Again, should, but it's a short week with a long travel, and it's not the ideal situation to be coming off a Monday night game at home and then playing in the Eastern time zone. So don't think that this is going to be just an easy game. You got to contend with Myles Garrett. Obviously, Robert Saleh will have a very good game plan to go against Shedeur Sanders. But the Niners don't get to the quarterback. That's one of their weaknesses now. When you don't have Nick Bosa and you don't have Fred Warner, like they are among the worst teams in the league in quarterback pressures. And this is not going to be an easy game for the 49ers. And when you look at the standings right now, and you look at the wild card, which you can start doing now as we're in Thanksgiving week, it's fine. The 49ers are 7th overall in the conference. Think about that for a minute. The Rams are 9-2. Philadelphia is 8-3. Chicago's 8-3. Tampa is 6-5. Then you have Seattle. They're going to be in at 8-3. Green Bay is 7-3-1. And San Francisco is 8-4. Detroit 7-4. So, like, this is not a sure thing that you're going to be in the postseason. Not a sure thing. And again, when you look at the 49ers, again, I'm going to say should. I know it's the NFL, and you got to be careful with this. They should win at Cleveland. They should win at home after their bye week against Tennessee, and then they have 3 really challenging games. I think the Bears are not very good. Okay, but at Indianapolis, very good. I know the Bears are in first place, but they're not the Bears don't impress me at all. And then Seattle at home, the final game. The final game. So, again, I look at what the 49ers will do. I look at how they played last night against an up-and-down Carolina team. I did like what I saw from the 49ers defensively last night. And I'm going to talk more about this with Sean Salisbury coming up at 5 o'clock right after my rant. But if I'm projecting the 49ers, to me, they better have at least 11 wins because I got to count Cleveland as a win, although I think it's going to be close. Tennessee is a win, and I'm going to count Chicago as a win. Indianapolis, Seattle, to me, toss-ups. That's how I'm looking at this. This is going to be a real fun stretch in the National Football League. And you got the big games coming up this week, and we'll get to that in a moment. But when you look at the overall standings now, and you look at the playoff in the AFC East, Denver 10-2, New England 10-2, Denver 9-2 in the AFC West, Colts AFC South 8-3, Baltimore Central 6-5. So again, those are your 4 divisional leaders right now: New England, Denver, Indianapolis, Baltimore. Chargers 7-4, Jacksonville 7-4, Buffalo 7-4, Houston at 6-5. Pittsburgh 6-5, Kansas City 6-5. Then you go to the schedule, right? You look at the schedule coming up this week with the short week. Thursday, the traditional game. Green Bay at Detroit. Dallas at home to Kansas City. Cincinnati at Baltimore. And the Friday game, Chicago at Philadelphia. It's going to be something, folks. It's going to be something. 3 games followed by the 1 game, and then on Sunday, San Francisco at Cleveland. Early start off a Monday night game. Again, that is a very difficult game to play. Very difficult. Jacksonville at Tennessee. Houston at Indianapolis. Miami is home to New Orleans. Atlanta is at the Jets. Arizona on the road at Tampa. The Rams are at Carolina. The Vikings are in Seattle. Buffalo at Pittsburgh, which is a very big game. The Raiders are at the Chargers. Sunday night, Denver at Washington. And then the Giants are at New England, Monday Night Football. What do you think? 916-779-0929 from the 209. I honestly don't trust Brock next year. It looks like it's going to snow and rain, and he hasn't done well in that weather. You mean next week, not next year. So I'm not sure it's an easy win. It's not an easy win when you're on the road in the East after a Monday night game at home. It's not easy. Monday night games with a lot of travel for the game the following Sunday is not easy. It is a bad schedule for the 49ers. Here's the way you have to look at it. They're a better team than Cleveland. They have a rookie quarterback, and Robert Saleh and his schemes will probably confuse him enough to create a turnover or two and win the game that way. You cannot do what Brock Purdy did last night. You cannot go into Cleveland and throw 3 interceptions on bad reads. Can't do it. Can't do it. From the 530, Grant, my wife Kelly and I went to Bennett's yesterday in Roseville. Everything was fantastic, especially the waiter service. They told him that we came because of the Grant Napear show. He said, "Go Kings." Love that. Tomorrow, Ryan and myself, we will be having our Thanksgiving picks and your chance to win a $100 gift card from Bennett's. We'll also tomorrow, due to the fact that there's no show Thursday or Friday, do our picks for the weekend and your chance to win a $100 gift card from Bennett's. So we love it. We love it. That's what we got going on. Big weekend. Big weekend and a big show. We've got sound in the next segment from Doug Christie, from Keegan Murray, from DeMar DeRozan. We'll do that throughout the show. Kings getting ready for Phoenix tomorrow. Don't go anywhere. That's next right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
Simply put,
there aren't rivals. There's backup plans.
nobody on the dial has more star power.
Just the start of an incredible journey.
Grant Napear, welcome home.
Love that you are with us here.
Dan Patrick,
6 to 9 a.m.
Colin Cowherd,
Right after Dan Patrick.
and Grant Napier.
Oh, we got the big dog in Sacramento.
There's only one sports station in Sacramento, and you're listening to it.
104.7.
Be sure and download the Fox Sports KSAC app.
Decisions determine results. So which path do I want to take? Help people in need or stand on the sidelines watching? Worry about how to pay for school or have my education paid for? Push myself and learn new skills or stay the same? My decision is to serve part-time with the Army National Guard, and my results will be life-changing. What will you decide? Go to NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service.
Sponsored by the California Army National Guard. Aired by the California Broadcasters.
It's Laramie the Golden Retriever with Vince Bloom the big guy.
The weather's getting cooler, but at Folsom Lake Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, the deals are hotter than ever.
How do you mean, Vince?
Prices are falling like leaves in every Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram in stock.
During the Black Friday sales event at Folsom Lake Dodge, save over $12,000 net savings off MSRP on two new 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab 4x4s. Net price, just $48,995.
And here's another hot deal.
Take $14,980 net savings off MSRP on a new 2025 Jeep Wrangler 4-door Willys, just $42,495. One at this net price.
So drive into Folsom Lake Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Now is the time for a deal, right, Laramie?
At Folsom Lake Dodge.
To the Folsom Auto Mall and online at FolsomLakeDodge.com.
Ram includes $65.40 dealer discount plus $61.70 and national stackable below MSRP retail cash. Bids SN 758655 and SN 772532. Wrangler includes $64.60 dealer discount plus $5,500 in bonus national retail loyalty and select inventory cash. Must have FCA vehicle registered in your name for longer than 30 days. In SW 543908. See dealer for details. Expires 12/125.
Don't forget Sean Salisbury after Grant's Rant, coming up at 5 o'clock right here on Fox Sports Sacramento. Tomorrow, we'll get you ready for Thanksgiving with a full 3-hour show, followed by our post-game show over on YouTube and X with Joey Reynolds, Ryan, and myself. Looking forward to that, as the Kings will look for three wins in a row against the Phoenix Suns. Ryan, you were at the game last night. You were at the post-game interviews. What impressed you the most about the game last night?
Keegan Murray, just how he's changed what the Kings can do theoretically defensively, and also his presence and his growth. You just see him, and if, as you said, you pay attention to basketball and you look beyond the ball going through the hoop, you see these small leaps in his game. You see him turning from young player in the league to, a second-year guy. Now he sounds and looks like a veteran guy and a guy that this team wants to follow. In fact, DeMar DeRozan, who passed, check this out, he passed Alex English on the all-time scoring list at 24th now. He was at the podium last night, and he was just asked about how much does Keegan Murray change this team, and you might be surprised. We were all taken aback when we heard DeMar's answer.
It's everything, it's everything. Keegan is, key to this team. It's his team. He's one of those guys that's going to be very, very special in his league. And, he's showing it, with his dynamic play on both ends. He changes the game. When his confidence is high, the things he's able to do makes it a lot easier on us. So, it's pretty obvious.
Very impressive. Speaking of Alex English, for those of you that did not watch Alex English play, he was great. He was also a former Kings assistant coach. Great man. I got to know him very well. Much respect for him because I used to announce games that he played in and love watching him play and then meet him and see what a quality individual. But for those of you that were not around when Alex English played, to be in to pass Alex English on a list, that's big time. So I'm happy for DeMar too. But those are impressive comments about Keegan Murray.
Yeah, very much so. DeMar said last night that Alex English was actually one of the vets that took him under his wing his rookie year. Funny
How
enough.
about that?
So a very special person to pass for him. And DeMar was not done, by the way. Just on a follow-up, asking him a little bit more about what he's telling Keegan, the communication between the two of them. Here's what DeMar had to say again.
Everything. There's no limits on Keegan. None. And he shouldn't think there's any limits. To him, it's just, it's everything. The way he's able to score, get downhill, shoot the ball, defensively, the things he's able to do, continue to grow on that. He's young, special. So that's what I mean by that. Just him knowing there's nothing he can't do on that court.
So, and that's a veteran who's been in a lot of situations, that's seen a lot of players. That's high praise from DeMar DeRozan.
It's massive praise. And Grant, I'm not ready to say the Kings are going to build or should build around Keegan Murray as a franchise player, but this iteration of the Kings, if you're somebody that was looking to see something come from this year, I know one of my big things was I wanted to see Keegan be more of a priority. Now we have a small sample size, but if that is what this team's going to do, I'm all for it because Keegan seems like he is ready for it, Names.
All right, 916-779-0929. We'll get to some calls. We'll have some more sound. Rhino, again, was at the game. He was at the press conferences. He has it all dialed in. We've got some sound from Keegan. We've got some sound from Doug Christie. So we are going to be listening to that as we get you through this show. Your text messages are very welcome. 916-779-0929. New rule from the 702. NFL player appeals the suspension and loses double the suspension. I don't like that. I mean, you're in a union. It is a powerful union. It's collective bargained, right? You have collective bargaining. I don't have a problem with a player appealing a suspension. It's part of the system. It is okay to appeal a suspension. You either win or lose. You shouldn't get double the penalty by exercising your right. I don't agree with you there at all. I really don't. All right, let's get to some phone calls. Let's say hello to Bob. Bob, welcome to the Grant Napear Show. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, about the Kings. I heard your show yesterday, and the interview, you didn't give it, but the Athletic of Scott Perry.
Yep.
He has his five or six traits that he wants in his athlete.
Yep,
which
6
I
principles.
think is probably pretty much the same as every coach around the country wants. But I didn't get, and maybe you did, I'd like you to explain it to me if you did. I didn't get any specifics on what his plan is for. In fact, kind of like when I was through, was that another word salad? I don't know. So
I didn't get any specifics on his plan either. I have no idea what the goal is for this year's team. I have no idea what the plan is, and I still have no idea what the plan is because to me, and again, this is me, not Scott Perry, and I'm not Doug Christie, and I'm not the owner. I'm Grant Napear, and I'm just giving you my viewpoint. This year needs to be about the future. It doesn't need to be about this year. It's a very delicate situation, by the way, because you still want to go out and try to win games. But I see the big picture. I always look at the big picture. And the big picture is this team is about the future. It's not about this year because of the older players. The Kings are an old team, as Jerry Reynolds says, and the team needs to focus on the future more than they need to focus on this year. And when I see Nick Clifford hardly playing, when I see Keon Ellis hardly playing, when I see other things that are going on the floor, it makes me scratch my head, Bob.
Yes, me too. Keon Ellis, I've given up on him. He's not going to be a King next year. They're going to get rid of him at the trading deadline, or he'll go off as a free agent. And he'll be a very good player for another city. I'm afraid of that, but,
I think you're right.
He should be playing a lot more.
I agree, Bob. 100%. I agree.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
Well,
Happy
have a
Thanksgiving.
Good Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Bye.
I appreciate you. Bye-bye. So, Ryan, let's get back to Keegan Murray, because I think he's one of the more underappreciated players that the Kings have. And I'm basing that not on a poll. I'm basing that on my social media accounts. I'm basing that on our post-game shows that we've done for years, where we get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of messages. We have thousands of people that watch our program. I think it is a very accurate sample of Kings fans. In other words, they're all Kings fans. We're not just talking about 30 or 50. We're talking about thousands. And not all, but there are an alarming number, and I would use the term alarming, number of fans over the last few years that, to me, have undervalued Keegan. And so I'm pleased for him that he's gotten off to such a good start after coming back from the thumb injury.
Yeah, no doubt. And remember, he really didn't have much of a training camp. He got like one practice,
Correct.
one preseason game in. I'm very happy for him as well. It feels like sometimes here in Sacktown, there has to be a scapegoat. If you lose a game, you got to point to somebody.
Yes.
And it's usually whoever has the lowest amount of points in the scoring column, most nights on the post-game show, that are turnovers. But he's a guy, again, that has gotten better and better. And if anything, he's been criticized for not being more decisive. And when I was talking to him at Media Day, I just asked him, I'm like, what's the difference for you, in terms of this offense and the ball moving? And he says, I got to catch a flow. I had a really good summer catching a flow and a rhythm, and that means touching the ball. He was asked last night about, are you being more aggressive? What's your plan when you're out there with these guys? Here's what Keegan said.
I think I just had a really good off season. I got away from Sacramento a little bit. I feel like I just kind of unlocked a different mindset going into this year. And obviously I couldn't really start the season. Obviously I missed a month to start. And for me, it's just kind of finding my rhythm back. And each game I'm getting more comfortable on the court. So aggression is not really an issue for me this year.
You know how when you meet somebody and you have an impression, right? Like anytime you meet somebody, you formulate an impression. The first time I met Keegan Murray was at a golf course. And after talking with him, I walked away from that going, wow. It was just like, what a mature person that seems to have everything dialed in. That was the impression that I got when I first met Keegan. And there's no really questioning his basketball work ethic and his talent. And I just think that Sacramento should embrace him totally, because they're really lucky to have him, both as a player and as a role model type in the community. I really believe that. I think he's all of that.
Yeah, and we'll get into it with the sound, and you're spot on. And he did some growing up, both on the court that we saw and then off the court. He got married this offseason, right?
Yeah.
He is turning into a man, both professionally and personally. But, he unlocks so many different things, and he gives really the rest of this bad defense that we've seen up until his return a little bit of a safety net. And it's something I asked Doug about and I asked Keegan about. We'll hear it a little bit later. But Grant, would you have called me crazy if I said the Kings were going to hold the Timberwolves to 4 quarters under 30 points?
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought that would happen. Definitely.
That's a bold
And can I just speak about them real quickly?
Yes, please.
They, to me, don't look nearly as good as they've been. And I spoke with somebody after the game last night that is extremely, and I mean extremely dialed in to the NBA. And I will tell you that his viewpoint on Minnesota was what he said was what I was watching last night. They are extremely limited offensively because they are really a one-man band for all intents and purposes with Anthony Edwards. And you saw what happened last night when they were up by 10.
Yeah.
They just completely fell apart, and they did the exact same thing the game before against Phoenix. The exact same thing. It was almost like a mirror image. And when we had Jim Peterson, the TV analyst of the T-Wolves, on yesterday, the fact that they don't have a win against a team that's 500 or better, I think they are kind of tinkering on falling off the mountain here if they're not careful in Minnesota. I don't like the makeup of their team right now. They are very limited in terms of relying on one player so much.
Yeah, what Rudy Gobert does to the Kings is not normally what he does on a night-in, night-out basis.
Yes, correct.
Because the Kings are significantly smaller than the Timberwolves. Now, that being said, I think the T-Wolves have some of the same problems the Kings have with the ball sticking. You have two guys that are ISO-oriented, and if they get up, great. But when you get down and you get into a push, what do they go to? It's ISO basketball.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's just not really the formula these days, and we've seen plenty of it over the last year here in Sacramento.
Very, very true. We saw it even at the end of the Denver game, to be honest with you, 2 games ago. I mean, it didn't bite them, but that's what we saw at the end of the game.
Great. You saw it last night at the end of regulation. The Kings ran a play out of the timeout, which basically was like a fake. They were going to run a double screen for Keegan Murray on the other side of the court. They gave DeMar the ball at the top of the key, and it was to clear everybody out to that side so DeMar would have the right side to go ISO. And it happened again. And Malik got a rebound and threw it off, but same go-to, which we can talk about the closing sets and all that as much as we want. But yeah, happened again last night.
All right. Hey, I want to talk to you about DAS Mechanical when it comes to HVAC, right? Your heating and air conditioning. They are specialists at retrofitting and service. That's their specialty. They do new systems. Speaking of new systems, and I mean this, I hope you don't need one, but eventually you probably will. Right now, there are rebates up to $6,000. So just keep that in mind. If you need financing, there are many options, including 0% interest for 18 months. But here's what I love about DAS Mechanical. They're really good at what they do. You go to their website, dasmechanical.org, check out their 5-star reviews and their numerous Best of the Best awards. Family owned and operated since 2018, they serve Sacramento and Placer counties. Again, HVAC retrofit and service specialist. They are awesome. D as in dog, A, S as in Sam, mechanical.org. Nick Delancey, their owner, after meeting with him, spending time with him, going over his business model, I know why they are so good at what they do. Their customer service is top shelf. Book online, check out everything at dasmechanical.org. D as in dog, A, S as in Sam, mechanical.org.
Fox Sports traffic
as we take our first look at the roadways for this Wednesday before Thanksgiving. A very busy travel day for people. So if you're heading to the airport, make sure you give yourself lots of extra time. Heavy delays already on I-5 in between top of the town freeway and US 50. US 50 also very busy in between 34th Street and I-5, and Cap City Freeway is starting to see the rush hour delays starting to go into full swing. With twice an hour traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
The holidays are here, and Gabrud Services is here for any electrical need or emergency. Holiday periods put more stress on your home's electrical system, more activity, more lights being used, increased appliance use, and more. Here are 3 holiday electrical reminders from the good dudes at Gabrud's. 1. There's still time for Gabrud's to inspect your home's electrical integrity. 2. Gabrud's are the experts in backup generator installation with flexible financing options to make a whole house generator affordable. And 3. Gabrud's has live call answering 24/7. We're here any time of day, especially in case of an emergency. At Gabrud's, electrical work is all we do. And at the holidays, we're here to ensure your home and family are safe. Locally owned for more than 30 years. Call Gabrud's, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gabrud's, G-U-B-R-U-D-S, Gabrud's.com.
The holidays can be a time of increased stress for those struggling with opioid or stimulant use disorder. Complex family dynamics, financial strain, and cultural expectations can weigh heavily and become a tipping point for those battling the physical and mental effects of addiction. But the holidays can also be a time for pause, reflection, opportunity, and new beginnings. They're a chance to take stock of what we have and are thankful for, to remember what's most important to us, and to consider what we can change. The holidays are a time of hope. So this holiday season, choose treatment and recovery. Embrace the support and company of family and friends, and create special moments. Get started by finding a proven opioid or stimulant addiction treatment provider near you at ChooseChangeCA.org. Find a proven treatment option that's right for you. Recover you at ChooseChangeCA.org. That's ChooseChangeCA.org.
Brad Gazan, on Atlanta United, we know everyone has a ritual, a habit we never skip, to clear our minds and elevate our performance. But what do you do to keep your head in the game? Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body, it's about taking care of your mind and mental health. Discover the resources you need to keep your mind focused and your mental health a priority.
Find resources at georgia.loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute, the Arthur M. Blank Family Foundation, and the Ad Council.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
You know, one thing I get a kick out of, because I have studied this all my life, and this is subjective, totally subjective, has to do with announcers, right? You may think someone's great. I don't. You may like a certain analyst. I don't. I may like a certain analyst. You don't. I may think this individual is great at play-by-play. You don't. And I love when rankings come out. I don't necessarily use this as gospel, but I do find it interesting that Awful Announcing released their NFL rankings based on viewer feedback. And the reason why I find it so interesting, and I've always talked about this, I think it is absolutely absurd and ridiculous what networks pay their announcers. particularly analysts. The fact that Tony Romo and Troy Aikman and Tom Brady make 7 figures to do a game is stupidity beyond stupidity. And it's interesting to me because Fox is paying Tom Brady a boatload of money. The number one team on Fox is Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady. And I think that Tom has actually improved this year. Well, I don't think he could have gone south. I think he only had room for improvement. They are 9th on the list. And for the boatload of money that you're paying Tom Brady, you would hope that that would be more than 9th. But they're not alone there. All right? I'm going to tell you 8th, Al Michaels, Kirk Herbstreit, Amazon Prime. Then you have another absurd, ridiculous contract that Tony Romo is getting paid by CBS. They're 7th. Jim Nantz and Tony Romo, your number one team. So think about this. Your number one team on Fox and your number one team on CBS, they're not even in the top 5 by this particular poll. And again, it's a poll, all right? Can you imagine paying that kind of money and you see a poll like this if you're a network executive? Kevin Kugler, Daryl Johnson, 6th on this list from Fox, all right? 5th from CBS is Iron Eagle J.J. Watt. I think Iron Eagle is one of the very best announcers in the business, and I would personally have him and J.J. Watt higher. I think the ranking is 5th because of J.J., not because of Iron, all right? Last year, Iron Eagle was with Charles Davis, and they were 5th. Now, when you look at 4th, it's Kevin Harlan, Trent Green, CBS. When you look at 3rd, it's Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, NBC. Or excuse me. Yeah, NBC, sorry. When you look at Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, ESPN, ABC, number 2. And number 1 on this list, what do you think? This surprised me a little bit. But then again, when I really take a step back and analyze it, I'm not that surprised of Joe Davis and Greg Olson. And the reason for that is when Greg Olson was number 1 on Fox and got replaced by Tom Brady, a lot of people didn't like it. Greg Olson became somebody that burst onto the scene and got a lot of rave reviews. Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong here, but you loved Greg Olson, did you not?
Yeah, I love listening to him do a game. So
and
knowledgeable.
Joe Davis, who is the voice, the TV voice of the Dodgers, does the World Series games on Fox, the baseball playoffs, and does all of that, is on the number 2 team, all right, on Fox, Joe Davis and Greg Olson. I think if you're going to really look at it, Olson is still better than Brady, but the network, backed up the Brinks truck and said, Tom, what is it going to take to get you? I don't understand networks paying 7 figures per game for an analyst. I think it's stupid. And the reason why it's stupid is very simple. I'm watching a game whether Joe Blow's doing the game or Tom Brady's doing the game. It doesn't matter to me. I'm watching a game regardless. I've never once turned on an NFL game in recent memory because of who was announcing the game. The only time I remember in my life actually watching a game that I didn't have an interest in, that I would not have watched ordinarily, was Monday Night Football with Frank Gifford, Dandy Don Meredith, and Howard Cosell. And that's, we're talking about 50, 40 years ago, for crying out loud. Seriously, and I really mean that. So, again, this is just a poll. It's one poll. You can go to another poll, and you'll find different results. But I just find it interesting that the number 1 team on Fox, Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady, and the number 1 team on CBS, Jim Nantz and Tony Romo, are not even in the top 5. And I personally feel, this is just me, that Tony Romo has brought down the quality of Jim Nance's play-by-play, because to me, I think doing a game with Tony Romo would be extremely difficult because he doesn't know when to get in and get out, and he's stepping on you all the time. And I think it's very difficult to develop a rhythm as a play-by-play announcer when you work with a Tony Romo. All right, it's very difficult to get in a rhythm. I personally, again, just me now, I thought that Nance was much better alongside Phil Simms. Now, I know a lot of people love Tony Romo. I know a lot of people don't. I don't enjoy Tony Romo. I actually go, oh, I'm not a fan of Tony Romo as an analyst. I know a lot of people love him. I'm not one of them. What about you, Rhino? Are you a Tony Romo guy?
No, I'm not. Because I know you played the game. I know that you've dated celebrities. You were a cowboy. You don't need to impress me by telling me what the next play is going to be. And it happens it feels like at least once a drive for a team. And if you exit polled many of those people that voted the Nance and Romo booth down, I would guess at least 50% would tell you it was because of Romo. So I have a question for you. If we took networks out of this with if we went 9 down from ranking 9 to ranking 1 on the booths that need to be fixed, and we took the networks out of it, how would you redo some of the combinations?
First of all, I would have some individuals not even working. Okay. So that's the first thing I would do.
Al Michaels?
If it were me and I was CBS, Ian Eagle would be my number one guy. Now, they elevated him to their number one position with college basketball. Jim Nance moved to the side. Jim Nance, by the way, is great, and what a great guy. I know Jim. I can't say enough superlatives about Jim Nance, the person. But I think Ian Eagle is a better overall play-by-play announcer. I think Jim Nance is one of the best studio hosts of all time. I think he's probably the best golf host of all time, and that's saying something. I love Jim Nance, but I think Ian Eagle would be number one. If it were me, okay, I would have Ian Eagle as my number one play-by-play announcer, and I would have to think about who I would pair him with, okay? I would have to think. I would not at the moment have him on my number one team with J.J. Watt. I don't think J.J. Watt is there yet as a number one analyst.
Yeah.
Now, I have to keep the networks the same, right? I can't take a guy from...
No, I said you can take the networks out of it if you want to.
Yeah, but I can't take an announcer from, let's say, ESPN, put him on CBS, correct?
No, you can.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm
All
saying.
right. If it were me and I could make my special team, I would have Ian Eagle work with Troy Aikman.
Huh. Interesting.
I think that would be a dynamic team. Here's something that's interesting. I hear a lot of criticism about Chris Collinsworth. I actually enjoy Chris Collinsworth. He's engaging. I like him. And I think Mike Tirico is really good. I mean, Mike Tirico's a solid pro. Would you agree with that?
100%.
Yeah. Do you like Tirico and Collinsworth together?
Yeah, I enjoy listening to their broadcasts.
Okay. By the way, I'm a huge fan of Joe Buck. I'm a huge fan of his. So if you told me, Napes, no, I got to have Buck and Aikman, they were a great team, I can't argue with that, okay? But if I'm going to put Ian Eagle as my number one guy on the network, then I have to have him with a power guy, okay? Mm-hmm. And I can't have him with Tony Romo because to me that would diminish what I'm hearing from Ian Eagle. I also would not have Kevin Burkhardt as my number one announcer on Fox. His presence is not enough for me. So I would have Joe Buck as my number one announcer again on Fox. I know he's not on Fox anymore. I know he's on ESPN, ABC. I'm taking Joe and I'm bringing him back to where he belongs on Fox. And I'm going to have him be my number one guy again, just like he was before, again, he got a boatload of money. Now the question is, who am I going to pair Joe Buck with? Okay, if I can't have him with Aikman because I've got Aikman with Ian Eagle, who am I going to put Joe Buck with? Because I think Joe would be great with anybody that you put him with. I really do. So here's what I'm going to do. All right, I'm going to throw you a big-time curveball right here. I'm going to put Joe Buck in the booth with Peyton Manning.
Ooh. Okay.
I'm taking Peyton out of the studio with Eli. I'm going to work with him for a full year in doing demos, and that's going to be my number one team. I'm going to have Joe Buck and Peyton Manning.
That's a powerhouse.
Exactly right. I think the chemistry would be great. I think the analysis would be great. I think it would be like a wow announced team. A wow announced team. So my number one team on CBS would be Aikman and Eagle. And my number one team on Fox would be Buck and Manning.
Anything that you would do with the Amazon crew?
Yes, I would take the entire host show and I would say you are no longer employed. All right. And I would start with Richard Sherman, who to me should not have a job for his reckless behavior behind the wheel of a motor vehicle and other alarming, ridiculous behavior. He would not be on my show. I don't understand how Richard Sherman is employable when you look at his misdeeds off the air. I think it's an embarrassment, and I can't watch it. I just can't. I don't understand how he maintains employment. I'm sorry. I don't see it. Listen, I think it's time for Al to retire. Yeah. I love Al. I've been blessed to interview Al a number of times. I think that Al Michaels is one of, and I mean this, I think Al Michaels is on the Mount Rushmore of sports broadcasters. Grant, I put him right up there.
Grant, I loved the Michaels, Deerdorf, and Gifford Monday Night Football booth. That was one of my favorites.
Al Michaels, to me, is on the Mount Rushmore. What he did in the Olympics in 1980 will go down as one of the great announcing feats of all time, never doing hockey before. He was great. He is the most unbelievable professional, but now in his 80s. And listen, I don't have a problem with announcing games if you're in the 80s. I mean, Gary Gerald's going strong. Al McCoy. I mean, Vin Scully. I mean, it doesn't bother me. But I think it's time for Al to, I would take Al after this year, and I would say, Al, it's time, right? I actually like Kirk Herbstreit. I know a lot of people think just stick to college. I don't have a problem with Kirk Herbstreit doing the NFL. I like him. Do you like Herbstreit?
Yeah, I love Herbie.
Yeah, me too.
Especially college. I love him. And I'm going to throw you one more name because I know we got to get out in a second. Ross Tucker is slowly moving up my list. I like Ross Tucker. I think he's excellent.
Yeah. Yep. I think he's really, really good. So we'll see. I'm good friends with Charles Davis, who was on the number 2 team with Ian, and they moved him down the chain this year. And the reason for that was twofold. They wanted J.J. Watt to come out of the studio and into the booth, and Charles is going to be the number 1 analyst on the network next week or next year for college football. He's going to be working alongside Gary Danielson. Brad Nessler. Danielson stepping down. He'll be with Nessler as the number 1 team on college football. Good hour. We've got more sound from the Kings. If you have any feedback to this, who would be your dream team? All right. Who's your dream team? And on the way out, Grant, it's Louie. I love the conversation about commentators. Can you talk about how the transition was from Jerry to Doug? It was clear that it was a rough start, but overall, was Doug as a color commentator from my point of view? I'll get to that next, right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Sports traffic as we take another look at the roadways. Still heavy delays throughout all of Sacramento, especially on I-5 northbound and southbound in between Top of the Town Freeway and US 50, Cap City Freeway in between Marconi Avenue and Exposition Boulevard, and US 50 in between Howe Avenue out to I-5 interchange. Also very busy, so give yourself lots of extra time as you make your way out of the office or to the home or to the airport. With twice an hour traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
Business owners, Grant Napier's back, bringing Fox Sports Radio to the forefront of sports talk in Sacramento. That means more listeners, more potential customers who could be spending money for your products and services. This is Kurt Bagelman, General Manager for Fox Sports Radio in Sacramento. Grant's back, and his return is an opportunity for your business. Listen, the sports talk audience is a target-rich group of consumers. 80% are employed. Nearly 60% earn six-figure incomes. 67% own their homes. Take advantage of the attention Grant's return has generated to tell people where to spend their money. This is a unique opportunity to increase your sales right now. It costs nothing to learn how a good strategy and a great commercial message heard by sports fans could help your business. So call me, 916-779-0914. 779-0914. Radio and Grant get results, and we are here to help. Call 779-0914.
Need new tires? Now through November 30th, save $100 instantly when you buy a set of 4 Bridgestone Weatherpeak tires. Save $70 instantly when you buy a set of 4 eligible Bridgestone tires, or buy a set of 4 eligible Firestone tires and save $60 instantly at Expert Tires. Expert Tires, 5810 Auburn Boulevard near Manzanita. Offer valid November 1st through November 30th, 2025. Cannot be combined with other offers. See store for details.
Hi, it's Margot from Bennett's Restaurants. At Bennett's, it's all about bold flavors and fresh handcrafted food served with genuine hospitality. Craving prime hand-cut steaks? We've got them. Fresh salmon, halibut, or giant Mexican prawns? We've got those too. At Bennett's, we serve premium seafood and steaks in a relaxed setting. Whether you're joining us for a special night out or a casual bite, we'll treat you like family every time. Find us in Sacramento, Roseville, and Rockland. View our menus and make a reservation at bennettsrestaurants.com.
Looking for the ultimate night out? Welcome to HQ Showgirls, Sacramento's premier adult gentlemen's club. We're the only topless club between Reno and San Francisco serving alcohol, beer, wine, and champagne. All inside over 6,000 square feet of pure excitement. Planning a party or a VIP night? Call our VIP manager now at 916-389-0199 to book your table. Come experience the energy at HQ Showgirls, 851 Richards Boulevard, Sacramento. Open 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Sunday through Thursday and until 4 a.m. Friday and Saturday. Visit hqnightclub.com, where the night begins and never stops.
Investors, keep listening to learn how to get your free gold report. A currency crisis is upon us. The U.S. dollar has been the world's reserve currency for over 50 years, but that is changing. It's time to protect your retirement. Decades of reckless borrowing and spending have critically weakened the dollar. The U.S. has become the world's biggest debtor with over $35 trillion in debt. Plus, the dollar's become weaponized. Countries are dumping it. Investors who wait until it's too late could lose big. There is one safe haven: gold. Diversify your portfolio with a physical asset they can't take away. Call the Reagan Gold Group right now and ask for your free gold guide. Here's our number:
800-941-4184. 800-941-4184. 800-941-4184. That's 800-941-4184.
Grant Napear is back every weekday afternoon, 3 to 6. This is Fox Sports, KSAC 890 AM, Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM, Sacramento.
Hour number 2, right here. So happy that you are joining us. I hope you are on your way to a fabulous Thanksgiving. I don't know if you saw this, folks, but I thought it was very interesting. Amy Trask, who has a long history with the Raiders. I got to know Amy very well when I did the Raiders preseason games for 5 years. And Amy was always in our meetings. Amy was always talking to me leading up to preseason. When I was doing my interviews at media sessions in Napa, I actually did my radio show from Napa very often, a couple of times every year from Napa. And she would organize who I would get on the air and so on and so forth. Well, it's interesting because there have been a lot of stories recently as it relates to the Raiders and what's going on. And Amy Trask, who was really the right-hand person next to Al Davis for so long, was talking about Jim Gray. All right? Now, when I did the Raider games for 5 years, Jim Gray was around Al Davis all the time. I don't know what it was about Jim, but Al loved Jim, and Jim was on a first name, close buddy-buddy relationship with Al Davis. Always. And Trask was talking about that Jim Gray was instrumental in getting Tom Brady into the ownership group. Now, if you know anything about Gray and Brady, they've known each other for a long time. They used to have a show every Monday night on Westwood One Radio with a huge sponsor where Jim would interview Tom before the game when he was a player with the Patriots, and it was a very in-depth interview. All right? And so when you look at this dynamic, Amy Trask now has talked about the level of concern, all right? The level of concern with Gray's involvement in the Raiders, and that it is having a negative effect on the performance of the team. Interesting. There's also talk about conflict between Trask and Gray because of a deal that Gray was trying to broker, and that when Amy was the CEO of the Raiders, she rejected it. We've talked about Jim Gray a lot in the past. Amy is talking about he's an advisor to Mark Davis, and it's very interesting that this is coming out again. All right? But again, she was very clear to make it known that Jim Gray is a very key figure in the Raiders' decision-making and what's going on. And I think this is a major, major, major problem for the Raiders. Okay? Like, this isn't just a little deal. This is a big deal. Okay? Here's the bottom line, and this is important, that Jim Gray is perceived to be a real problem within the Raiders organization by somebody that was the CEO, was there, in Amy Trask. Now, I find this interesting on a couple of fronts. I know both of these individuals. I worked with Jim Gray. I had many dinners with Jim Gray. When he was doing the Kings, we would go out to dinner a lot on the road. Jim Gray is a phenomenal storyteller, and I've never, in all of my years of being in this business, I have never been around anyone that knows as many people as Jim Gray. And I'm not talking about just people. I'm talking about the heavyweights of the world. Okay? I am talking about like the biggest list in the world. If you wanted to write down all of the celebrities in the world, Jim Gray knows them. Not only does he know them, he could take out his phone and call them right there at the dinner table. I am not exaggerating. I have never in my life been around anyone with more contacts than Jim Gray. And then I asked myself, how does that happen? Like how is it that Jim Gray has so many contacts and so many relationships with so many powerful people? To this day, I still do not understand that. But what is very clear to me, and the reason why I'm talking about this, is because the Raiders have been bad for a long, long time. They've been bad. They've been horrible. In my perception, not necessarily reality, when I did the Raider games back in the early 2000s, is that Jim Gray had a lot to say back then. He was in Al Davis's ear. And I never thought that Jim was, how would I want to say this? I never thought, well, I would just say it this way. If I were Al Davis, I wouldn't be listening to Jim Gray about football. I might be listening to him about other things, but it wouldn't be about football and what's going on the field. And I think that it's interesting that Amy is talking about this, because if you watch a Raiders game, even last week on Monday Night Football, they showed the booth and who was with Tom Brady in the booth at the Raiders game. It was Jim Gray. They were seen on camera laughing and hanging out together in the booth. So I absolutely 100% believe that Jim Gray brokered the deal to get Tom Brady in the Raiders organization. No doubt in my mind. I agree that Jim Gray has too much influence on the Raiders organization and probably has more influence than I'm even discussing right now. And I just think it's really interesting when we talk about why franchises are so bad year after year. My experience is because owners listen to people that they shouldn't be listening to. I really believe that. And I think that's one of the biggest problems here in Sacramento. I think Vivek Ranadive listens to people that he shouldn't be listening to. Because there are a lot of people that want to get in on a professional team, and they'll tell a naive owner anything to get in the door and kind of be like the guy. And I think that's happened here in Sacramento. As a matter of fact, I don't think it's happened. I know it's happened. And I think it's happened in the Raiders organization. And I think Jim Gray is that guy. And whereas Jim is a really nice guy, and I have a lot of respect for Jim in a lot of areas, I would not listen to Jim Gray as it pertains to the Raiders if I were Mark Davis. I just wouldn't. I would not. And I don't understand why he has so much influence on the team. I really don't. I've never understood that. I didn't understand that back in the early 2000s. And I still don't understand that here in 2025. So I wanted to mention that at 916-779-0929. And we're talking, and the reason why I'm bringing Jim Gray up is we're talking about broadcasters. And I've worked with a lot of people. I've worked with some very, very talented people. I've been blessed to work with some incredibly talented people. And Jim Gray is the least talented person that I think I have ever worked with in broadcasting. Jim can do one thing and one thing only. He can only do one thing. He can interview. He's probably the best of all time. All right, he's up there on the Mount Rushmore of interviewers. He's probably up there with Larry King, and you can pick out two others, but Jim Gray's on the Mount Rushmore of interviewers. The guy is great. Barbara Walters would probably be up there. I don't know who else. All right, but you would have Barbara Walters, you'd have Larry King, you'd have Jim Gray, and I don't know who your fourth would be. But Jim Gray is on the Mount Rushmore, okay? He's not afraid to ask the tough question. He is not afraid to do anything. But that's it. It stops right there. In terms of talent, in terms of ad-libbing, in terms of, like, I was just like, I was speechless when I worked with Jim Gray. Speechless. I was like, you got to be kidding me. It was embarrassing. Clear, honestly, I mean this. It was embarrassing. And so I've always wondered why networks, TV outlets, take an individual because they played a game and put them in front of a microphone. We've seen that for years with the Kings in their studio shows. I mean, they've had individuals on the set doing pregame, halftime, and postgame that had no business being there. I mean, it was embarrassing. Like, if I'm running a network, I don't care if you have the biggest name in sport. If you can't talk and you can't get from point A to point B, I don't care who you are. I don't care how many times you were an all-star. I don't care if you're one of the greats of all time. I don't want you. All right, we found that out even with Joe Montana when NBC tried to make him this big studio guy. It didn't work. It was a flop. It was embarrassing. I mean, we can go on and on. There are many other names. I don't want you. So I got a question going into the last break about what was it like going from Jerry to Doug. Well, you go from an experienced broadcaster who I had a phenomenal relationship with, incredible chemistry, to somebody that I knew and had known for the previous almost 20 years, but not quite. And I remember the first time the Kings came to me and said, hey, we want to try Doug out. I didn't like the way everything was going down with the Kings. I've never really been public about this. Jerry, to me, should have been somebody that should have written his own ticket. He should have decided when he didn't want to do games anymore, when he didn't want to travel anymore. Because when I think of the Sacramento Kings, I think of Jerry Reynolds as being at the very top of my list. That's what I think of. When I think of the Kings, I think of Jerry Reynolds. And Jerry was not only great at what he did, Jerry was and still is adored by almost all Kings fans. Jerry is on the Mount Rushmore of the Sacramento Kings, and I'm putting him right up there at the very list, number one on my list. And the Kings, for whatever reason, were trying to kind of push him gently out of his chair, and I didn't like that, and I was very clear about that. I was very clear about that with Jerry, and I was very clear about the individuals that were doing that with the Kings. And they made it very clear to me that that was not what was going on, and blah, blah, blah. So it started with Bill Walton. And by the way, rest in peace, Bill. I love you. And I love talking to Bill, but I didn't like the way that all went down. I thought it was wrong. And I was very clear about that. And then when Jerry missed some road trips because of the excuse of travel, they wanted to have Doug fill in. And so I spent an enormous amount of time with Doug, a lot of time, talking to him about everything, okay? And I thought that he could do it. I thought that he was bright enough to do it. And when I mean bright enough, I'm talking about bright enough to learn the profession. He obviously had the basketball acumen. He had all of that. After meeting with him and talking about this and mentoring him, I thought he could do it. So the biggest issue that I had with Doug when he first started doing the games with me was he was too much of a fan. And I had to tell him, Doug, you're not cheering for the team on the air. That cannot happen. Okay, so you need to take that mentality and you need to stop it. All right, you're not a cheerleader on the team, on the broadcast. You're an analyst. It's okay for you to be a homer at times, but the bravado has to simmer down. And there were times when he stepped on me, and there's a very famous clip of the Bogdanovich game winner against the Lakers right around Christmas, the final shot of the game, and they had the camera on us that we started in Sacramento, thanks to Mike Bird, one of the best, most brightest technical people I've ever worked with in television. Mike was the first one to do this. He would put a little GoPro camera in front of us to get our reaction. And so when the shot was made, and you can go to YouTube, and all you got to do is put Bogdanovich game winner against the Lakers. There is me making the call and Doug Christie next to me. And after I ended my call on the video, I have an arm bar right across Doug. I took my right arm and I put it up with my palm facing him. Don't talk. And I left it up there for quite a while. And the reason why I did that was very clear, because I told Doug that I was going to be doing that after he stepped all over me on a De'Aaron Fox incredible jam putback to win the game at Miami, where I thought his enthusiasm took away from the moment of what the telecast should be. And so I used the arm bar with Doug. I said, Doug, from now on, when I don't want you to talk, I'm putting my arm up right in front of you. He goes, Napes, I love that. Thank you very much. I said, no problem, man. He goes, he goes, I'll know what that means. And he was very cool about it. He goes, Napes, I love that. He would go, thank you so much. And so that's what worked. And if you look at that video, you see my arm right in front of him. And then as soon as I lowered my arm, I looked at him, nodded my head and go. And then I picked it up. And it's right there. And I always thought about like teaching that in a broadcasting class. Because regardless of who the analyst is, whether it was Bill Walton or Jerry Reynolds, or whether it's Tony Romo with Jim Nance, or whether it's Troy Aikman with Joe Buck, the bottom line is that when you're in the broadcast booth, the play-by-play man is the captain. Doesn't mean he's better. It just means he's the captain. He's the one that flies the airplane. He's the one. That's his job. His job is to understand what the theme of the show is, what we're really trying to get across based on the open, the points that we talked about before the game, and follow that flow and continually keep that in mind of what the talking points were before the game, what the trends were, and how that's all going throughout the telecast. Things change during the course of a telecast, but the play-by-play person is the captain. That's the way it has to be. That's the only way it works. And again, it doesn't mean I'm more important than the person next to me, because that's not true. But I have to fly the plane. I have to drive the car. And so I did that with Jerry at times too. Jerry would tell you there were times I would put my hand up and go, don't talk. And so with Doug, he was very excited when we first started doing the games, and I had to do that to him, and he was fine. I thought Doug was very good on the air with me. He wasn't Jerry, but no one will ever be Jerry. Jerry is in a class by himself. So, but I thought he was good. I thought he was very good. All right. Don't forget. All right. I want to talk to you about DAS Mechanical. And when I say don't forget, because your HVAC system may be just fine today, but it may not be fine next week or next month. I don't know. It may need to be retrofitted, service. Okay. You may need a new system. Well, DAS Mechanical should never be too far from your thought process, because they are great at what they do. And just don't take it from me. You look at a business and you read their reviews, right? Like that's what I do. They have so many 5-star reviews. And then I look at the awards that they have. Numerous best of the best awards at DAS Mechanical. That tells me everything I need to know. Family owned and operated. They serve Sacramento and Placer counties. Again, HVAC, retrofit, and service. And you might go, Nate, stop talking about this. I'm good. Well, again, you might be good today. You may not be good next week. All right? Okay? There will be a time when you have to have your heating and air conditioning serviced for sure, and retrofitted and or a new system. Do not forget about DAS Mechanical. Go online at D as in dog, A-S as in Sam, mechanical.org. Read all of their 5-star reviews. Book everything online, and check out their numerous best of the best awards. That's dasmechanical.org. They are awesome. You're awesome too for being right here on Fox Sports Sacramento. We've got so much to talk about on a busy Tuesday. Don't forget Grant's Rant at 5 o'clock, followed by Sean Salisbury right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Fox Sports. Traffic getting real busy throughout Sacramento, especially with a disabled vehicle blocking the left lane of the Cap City Freeway eastbound at H Street. You're backed up to about US 50 interchange. Allow yourself that extra time to work your way through that. I-5 northbound, southbound from top of the town freeway down to US 50. Also very busy through there. Give yourself about 20 to 25 extra minutes on both sides. With twice an hour traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
Traffic brought to you by Gabroods Electrical. Homeowners, for any electrical project you need done, trust the good dudes at Gabroods. Locally owned, 5-star service experts, and always transparent prices and solutions. Say goodbye to your electrical issues with Gabroods. GUBRUDS.com.
It's Laramie the Golden Retriever with Vince Bloom the Big Guy.
The weather's getting cooler, but at Folsom Lake Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, the deals are hotter than ever.
How do you mean, Vince?
Prices are falling like leaves on every Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram in stock.
During the Black Friday sales event at Folsom Lake Dodge, save over $12,000 net savings off MSRP on 2 new 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab 4x4s. Net price, just $48,995.
And here's another hot deal.
Take $14,980 net savings off MSRP on a new 2025 Jeep Wrangler 4-door Willys, just $42,495. Run at this net price.
So drive into Folsom Lake Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Now is the time for a deal, right, Laramie?
At Folsom Lake Dodge.
The Folsom Auto Mall and online at FolsomLakeDodge.com.
Ram includes $65.40 dealer discount plus $61.70 and national stackable below MSRP retail cash. Ends SN 758655 and SN 772532. Wrangler includes $64.60 dealer discount plus $5,500 and bonus national retail loyalty and select inventory cash. Must have FCA vehicle registered in your name for longer than 30 days. In SW 543908, see dealer for details. Expires 12/1/25.
Snakes, zombies, public speaking. The list of fears is endless. But the real danger is in your hand when you're behind the wheel. Distracted driving is what's really scary and even deadly. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love talking about announcers because it's so subjective. I've always been fascinated by those that we differ opinions on. But like there was never a difference of opinion on like Bill King, right? There was never a difference of opinion on Vin Scully. There was never a different opinion when we were talking about Dick Enberg. There just wasn't. Marv Albert. Talk about Jack Buck, Ernie Harwell. I mean, you think about back in the era that I grew up in, Kurt Gowdy, Keith Jackson. Like there was never criticism on Kurt Gowdy. There was you wouldn't find anyone that didn't think Keith Jackson was a phenomenal announcer. It's just, and again, that was before social media. So you didn't have all of the various outlets and opinions and all the negativity that is in our world today. So it was a different time. But if you grew up in Northern California and you were a fan of the A's or the Raiders or the Warriors, you loved Bill King. Like you never, and I mean this, you wouldn't find anybody that didn't love Bill King. Somebody said on my text line at 209, who are my top 4 announcers of all time? Marv Albert's on my list because I grew up with Marv, and he was to this day the best basketball announcer that I've ever heard and a great hockey announcer. And I used to listen to him every night, and he did the sports on WNBC TV, Channel 4 in New York. So Marv is on my list. You know, it's really hard to talk about the 4 best announcers of all time, but I think Keith Jackson, for me, is on that list because Keith did everything so well. I mean, he did everything so well. I love Keith. It would be hard for me to not go back into the 60s and 70s and talk about a Kurt Gowdy or Dick Enberg. I think Pat Summerall is on that list because I think Al Michaels is on that list. I honestly don't know if I could name 4. I know you're asking me for my Mount Rushmore because there's local announcers and then there's network announcers. Bill King was not a network announcer. Bill King was a local announcer. Chick Hearn was a local announcer. And I mean this, would you ever go to Southern California and ever find one person, even one, that did not love Chick Hearn? Can you find an announcer anywhere in the United States? Can you find anyone in Southern California that was not a huge fan of Chick Hearn? Can you? Because I don't think you can. I don't think that exists. If you can find somebody that didn't like Chick Hearn, I would ask, what's wrong with them? I would say, well, gee, what is wrong with that person? Seriously. I've never come across anyone that didn't love Bill King. Even if you were a fan of the 49ers or a fan of the Giants, you would acknowledge that Bill King was great, right? You just would. I mean, you wouldn't find anyone that didn't think Bill King was great. And I moved to California, and Bill was at the end of his tenure, but Bill King was loved by everyone. And that's the great thing about local announcers, because they become a fabric of the community. Gary Gerald in Sacramento, right? Jerry Reynolds, a fabric of the community. Chick Hearn, Los Angeles. Vin Scully, Los Angeles. Marv Albert, New York. Ernie Harwell, Detroit. Jack Buck, St. Louis. Even though Jack became national, but the point was, Jack was, and to this day, one of the great figures in the history of St. Louis sports. That's the beauty of local announcers. Al McCoy, Phoenix. Even Steve Holman, who I had on with Atlanta, household name in Atlanta, former Georgia Sportscaster of the Year. Like, when you think about the presence and what local announcers mean, especially those that have worked decades, and you have a fan base who started listening to you when you first came to the market, and then 25, 30, 35 years later, they run into you and they go, wow, these are my kids and they love you now. They listen to you. And I grew up listening to you with my dad and my mom. Like, it gives you chills through your body when you meet those people. And I'm not comfortable talking about myself, but I will tell you, when I meet people that come up to me and go, I used to love you when I was a kid, and they're with their kids now and they follow you, like, it gives you chills. It just does. It gives you chills. I can't even really explain that. And so if you were a fan of the Phoenix Suns and you grew up listening to Al McCoy and he was there all your life, or you were a fan of the Dodgers all your life and Vin Scully was the only voice you ever heard, or you were a fan of the Cubs with Harry Carey, or you were a fan of the Warriors or the Raiders or the A's with Bill King, like, there is no other announcer. That's it. It was Bill King. If you were a fan of the Lakers, you would never, ever want to listen to a game without Chick Hearn. And what was the worst job ever in the history of LA sports? Trying to replace Chick Hearn. Remember when they went with Paul Sutherland? You're like, oh my gosh, impossible. Then they ended up with another announcer and then another announcer. Like, I mean, you can't replace a legend. Like, you can't go and replace Chick Hearn. And wouldn't you hate to be the person that had to try to fill the shoes of Chick Hearn? His shoes are not fillable. You can't fill the shoes of Chick Hearn. It's just not possible. So I love talking about this stuff. I always have. I love talking about announcing because it is so subjective. But it's really not subjective on the local level, because you just don't meet anyone that doesn't love Gary Gerald or didn't love Jerry Reynolds, right? You just didn't. And you didn't meet anyone in the Bay Area that didn't love Bill King. You didn't meet anyone in New York that didn't love Marv Albert. You didn't meet anyone in St. Louis that didn't love Jack Buck. You didn't meet anyone in Detroit that didn't love Ernie Harwell. It didn't exist. You couldn't find that person. That person did not exist. So I love talking about this. But to get back to your questions about going from announcers to announcers in terms of analysts, I work with a lot of different analysts. I work with Ted Green when I was young and just starting out the business. I worked with Quinn Buckner. I worked with Derek Dickey, rest in peace. One of my favorite people of all time. Great man. Loved him dearly. He was part of the Warriors championship team with Rick Barry. Just one of the, I mean, I could do an entire show on Derek. I could share stories of being with Derek for hours and hours. I could share about all of the golf experiences that we had when he got a hole-in-one on the par 4 at Cherry Hill one day. And you couldn't really see the ball go into the hole because it was a type of hole where it was a risk reward. It was kind of a slight dogleg right, but if you could go over the trees and you could hit the ball far, you could get on the green. And so Derek hit the ball over the trees one day, but we really couldn't see the ball and where it landed. And I'll never forget walking up to the hole and we're like, dude, where's your ball? And we're looking around the fringe and we're looking over here. And I'm like, Derek, hole-in-one, baby. And the euphoria and just, we had so much fun. We just loved being together. And we loved just going out to dinner together. And we just loved sitting together and laughing. Derek Dickey just had he was the best. And I did the games with him for a couple of years. And to this day, I don't know why the Kings went in a different direction from him, but it worked out well for him. He left Sacramento and ended up going to work with the great Neil Funk in Chicago on Bulls Radio and was there for 3 of Michael Jordan's championships. And I was so happy for him. And then he had a debilitating stroke where he didn't show up for a game one night. And he was found in his condo in Chicago. He had been on the floor, conscious, but not able to move. And so he couldn't get to the phone when he heard all the voice messages from his girlfriend, Sally, and those from the Bulls. And he was paralyzed on one side of his body. And that's when I first started doing my golf tournament for stroke awareness. And I always tell the story of after flying from Washington to Chicago on an off day to visit Derek. And I'll never forget walking into the hospital and Sally saying, I don't even know if he's going to know that you're here. He's kind of out of it. And I walked into his room and I grabbed his hand and he acknowledged me and he had a faint smile. Again, one half of his body was paralyzed. But seeing this unbelievable physical specimen, and I say that because he was in such great shape. He took such great care of himself, did not drink, and he had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and I believe that they feel that the stroke was caused as an after effect of that. But then when he was transported, when he got better from Sacramento or stronger from Chicago to Sacramento, I would go visit him, and he got to a point where he wanted to go golf and hit balls. And I'll never forget, Derek was a big guy. And trying to get him into my car and then getting as close as I could to a driving range because he couldn't walk that far. But boy, he was going to try. And I'll never forget the first day I took him to the driving range and I put the ball on a tee for him. And he could only swing, obviously, with one arm. And he hit 3 balls. And he looked at me and said, I'm really, really tired. Can we leave? I go, yep. And we had a whole bucket of balls there. I go, yep. And I helped him back into the car. And we did that until he could then hit 5 balls, 10 balls, 20 balls. And he loved it. And then 2 years later, he was gone. But I've transitioned through a lot of different things. I've met a lot of great people along the way. But you talk about chemistry, we talk about broadcasting, and I've talked about the top teams in the NFL. The most important thing to a successful broadcast is chemistry. You know what chemistry is. I can't really explain it to you. When you watch a broadcast team, it's chemistry, right? You might have a really good play-by-play announcer like Mike Breen, but the chemistry with Doris Burke and Richard Jefferson was terrible. The chemistry with Jeff Van Gundy and Mark Jackson was great. I can't explain to you what it is, but you know it when you turn on the TV and watch a game or listen to a radio. Chemistry is the key. Chemistry is the most important thing in broadcasting when it comes to a team. It is number one. You either have it or you don't. It's not manufactured, and it's not something that You can just flip a switch and it's there. It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight in many instances. And it evolves. And when it hits, when it is there, when it is like, wow, you don't mess with it. You leave it alone and you let it just go. And you just keep it the way it is. And we know the broadcast teams that have chemistry. And we know the broadcast teams that don't have chemistry. Some are all in Madden. Great, great chemistry. Frank Gifford, Dandy Don, Howard Cosell, maybe the best of all time. Dick Enberg, Merlin Olsen jumped out at you through the TV. Kurt Gowdy, Aldi Rogatis jumped out at you through the TV. And I can go on and on. Chemistry. It is unbelievable when you have it. And then when you don't have it, which I didn't have with Quinn Buckner, even though Quinn, very good guy and tremendous career, there was no chemistry. Chemistry is where it's at. And you can go from an average broadcast to a good broadcast to a great broadcast if you have the chemistry in the booth. I had chemistry with Derek Dickey. It was back when I look at my career, other than Jerry Reynolds, who I love dearly, is a family member to mine. The chemistry that I had with Derek on TV, and a lot of you don't remember because you weren't old enough and you don't remember that era of basketball. The chemistry that I had with Derek came through the TV. We were well received, and you could tell that we were great friends. There was just teamwork. We were working in sync, and everything just flowed. And what makes great chemistry is not your relationship on the air completely, your relationship off the air. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are great friends. They're best friends. You can tell it comes through. They have great chemistry. My relationship with Jerry, he's a family member to me. That comes through on TV. Derek Dickey was my best friend at the time. That came through on the TV, right? When Doug and I worked together, I think it came through on a radio show and on our TV games. We did everything together, golf together, ate together. We're together hours out of the day. We were together more than with our spouses. I felt that came through. Chemistry, number one. Here's a great message from the 916, Kruk and Kipe. Kruk and Kipe. Is there anyone that has better chemistry than them in the history of broadcasting in the Bay Area? I mean that. Is there anyone that will ever be better than Kruk and Kipe? I don't think so. We'll be back and continue this. Your phone calls, I'd love to know what you think at 916-779-0929. The Grant Napear Show, Fox Sports, Sacramento.
The holidays are here, and Gabrud Services is here for any electrical need or emergency. Holiday periods put more stress on your home's electrical system, more activity, more lights being used, increased appliance use, and more. Here are 3 holiday electrical reminders from the good dudes at Gabrud's. 1. There's still time for Gabrud's to inspect your home's electrical integrity. 2. Gabrud's are the experts in backup generator installation with flexible financing options to make a whole house generator affordable. And 3. Gabrud's has live call answering 24/7. We're here any time of day, especially in case of an emergency. At Gabrud's, electrical work is all we do. And at the holidays, we're here to ensure your home and family are safe. Locally owned for more than 30 years. Call Gabrud's, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gabrud's, G-U-B-R-U-D-S, Gabrud's.com.
Cameron, I just think we need to, see other people.
Are you trading me in?
No. A trade-in is what I'm getting from Kitchen Mart.
A trade-in?
Right now, Kitchen Mart's offering a $750 credit when you trade in your old kitchen countertops for something worth showing off, like granite, marble, or solid surface.
I'm not worth showing off?
Not like the stunning new quartz countertops Kitchen Mart just installed for Karen and Tom.
Huh.
Durable, easy cleanup, made their kitchen look brand new. And Kitchen Mart gave them a $750 trade-in credit to haul off their ugly ugly old tile and grout countertop.
You're dumping me.
That's harsh. You want me to wait till I get the new countertops from Kitchen Mart?
At least hold off till Wednesday. I'm seeing Susan.
Susan!
Now's the perfect time to trade up to beautiful new quartz, granite, marble, or solid surface countertops. Because for a limited time, Kitchen Mart's offering a $750 trade-in credit for your old countertops. Go to kitchenmart.com today and schedule a free in-home consultation and save $750 off new countertops.
No one does it better than KitchenMart.com.
At Downtown Ford Sacramento, we're proud of our long heritage. We've consistently provided Ford cars and trucks to families and businesses in this region for over 100 years. If we think about it, practically every kid who grew up in this town at one time or another rode around in a Ford that we sold to their family. We've served multiple generations of local farmers and ranchers who got their rugged Ford trucks from us. We've also provided many of the emergency vehicles that you see out doing the people's work every day on the streets. All of us at Downtown Ford, from our top-notch service department who keep your Ford running like new, to our dedicated finance team and the guys and gals in our showroom, we thank you for generations of love and loyalty to us. And for that love, we say right back at you. We're doing Fords just like we always have. Come see us any day of the week or visit us online at downtownfordsacramento.com.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Appreciate all the comments. Thank you very much. If you want to call the show, 916-779-0929. Somebody talked about, what I'm most thankful for as I talk about these stories as we get ready for Thanksgiving on Thursday. I'm not going to go off on a tangent here, but I'm most thankful for my health because, if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. And for those of you that aren't healthy currently, we're all thinking about you, and keep the faith and keep plugging along. And I really mean that. So, listen, I'm thankful for being here doing this show. Obviously, we're all thankful for our families, but I've always been thankful for you. I've always been thankful for the support and the bond of this community. That's why I love doing this show. I love doing post-game shows. You're passionate. The Kings just went through maybe the worst stretch in the history of their franchise. And you're still there, and you're still going crazy. And the team comes home, and like last night, you have something to stand and cheer for. And it didn't matter to you that when the game started, they were 4-13 and had just been embarrassed on almost night in, night out, even though they were coming off a win against Denver. That doesn't happen in many other cities in America. It just doesn't. But it happens in Sacramento. And if they lose tomorrow, you'll be calling up the show and you'll want to be jumping off your rooftops, and you will be I love that. We're blessed here to live in such a passionate area for a team like Sacramento. I find it to be unique in so many ways. There are a couple of markets that I think are similar. I think Portland is similar, but there aren't a lot of markets like Sacramento where it's really the only show in town. I'm well aware that Portland has Major League Soccer, but in terms of the big four, it's the Blazers here in Sacramento, right? It's only the Kings. The A's don't count because they're here on a temporary basis. It's so unique. It's so special. I'm thankful to, I don't think I would have come back after 5 years had it not been for that. Why come back and do a show in Sacramento and talk sports about a bad team Like, why would I want to do that? Well, because I don't have to worry whether the team is good or bad, because it really doesn't matter, because I'm still going to have the support and the audience, because the fans are going to be with you through thick and thin. I mean, I'm very honest about this. When basketball season ends, not only the King season, but the NBA, I used to hate doing radio from about July 10th to Labor Day weekend. Hate it. It's the worst 6 or 7 weeks of the year. I'll tell you right now, as I sit here on 2 days before Thanksgiving on the 25th of November, I'm already dreading the last 2 weeks of July and the 4 weeks of August. I hate it. There's nothing going on. There's nothing to talk about. There's no basketball. There's no trades. Free agency is over. Summer league is just kind of wrapping up. There's nothing to talk about. I've been doing it for decades. Hate it. It's the worst time of the year. Terrible. Right? No one talks about baseball in this market. That's the reality. They just don't. And even though it's a really good baseball town, it's not like baseball talk on the radio. You don't get that here in Sacramento. It's not a college football town, all right? And that's why I've been very open about what's going on at Sac State. I think that they are biting off more than they can chew by talking about going up the ladder, being big-time college football. I don't see that working. It doesn't make sense for me at Cal Expo. I've been very open about that. I would love to be wrong. I would love to see it. It would be great for this community. But I got to be honest. I got to be practical. I don't see it ever happening. I think if you were ever going to make that move, basketball makes more sense than football. I just don't see how you could ever compete. I don't think so. I think, again, you're biting off more than you can chew. So I don't see that as being practical. I like to deal in practical. But what are you thankful for in a sports sense? Like, what drives you for your being thankful? You really should be thankful that, as bad as the Kings are, you have a team to root for here, even though it's just like every year it seems to be the same thing over and over again, because you should be thankful that you can go to the arena and see LeBron James or Steph Curry, or over the years, Michael Jordan or Larry Bird or Magic Johnson or Kareem. Like, we're blessed that we've had that opportunity in Sacramento. And if you think about the impact that the Kings of the early 2000s had on you as an adult now, think about what it was like for you as a child back then. I had Ryan Anderson on, right? We talked with Ryan Anderson just a couple of days ago. Grew up, tremendous high school basketball player at Oak Ridge, state finals, Cal Berkeley. And he talked about the impact of being a kid during that era and what it was like being in this community and the impressions that those players made on him and really enhanced him and his love for the sport of basketball. That's something that you just can't minimize. So we're blessed. You should be very thankful for that. I'm thankful that I'm still able to talk to you after 5 years. I'm thankful that we can have good conversations, that we can have a difference of opinion. I'm really thankful that the world has changed from a broadcasting perspective, where if things don't work out at a company that you're working for, if they fire you for no reason, that you can then find something else to do because of podcasts and social media. And I am thankful that I had that avenue to go from everyday radio and onto a podcast. I'm unbelievably thankful to my loyal sponsors and people that I didn't even know that came up to me and said, "What can I do for you? What can I do for you?" And I don't forget gestures like that. And those individuals that came up to me in my time of need that said, "What can I do for you?" that to this day, 5 years later, still sponsor my podcast, they're gold to me. Like, you want to talk about loyalty? If I get to a point where I am financially independent, I will do all of their commercials for free for the rest of my tenure in doing my shows. They won't pay a dime to me, and I will do all of their reads and promote their businesses for as long as I continue to do my shows on YouTube. They won't get charged a dime, and I will promote them and continue to promote them and continue to promote them. And when I had Tom Brenneman on, who went through a similar situation as me, but for a completely different reason, Tom is doing college football and basketball for, the CW network. Tom was on the NFL on Fox. He did the MLB on Fox, the TV voice of the Reds. Tom was network. Did the NCAA basketball tournament. Tom was network. And so Tom now was given this chance to resume his play-by-play career by doing college football and college basketball. And Tom came on this show just a couple of weeks ago, and he talked about the folks at CW hoping that this would provide an opportunity for a bigger platform. And he said, no. I will work for you as long as you want me because I'm loyal, and what you did for me will never be forgotten. And so I would turn that down because I'm loyal. And I love that. I absolutely love that. I really do. So we talk about the fans, right? And why I'm back. Doug Christie, last night, after the big win, he also talked about the fans.
It says so much about the people of Sacramento, man. I love them dearly. I think that our team will begin to understand who they are. They come and they bring it all the time. And what they ask for is that you pour your heart out on the court, and that's not too much to ask for. And for our guys to play like that, it makes you happy and excited to see our fans be able to get that vibe. It's a good vibe.
Amen. 100%. I concur with everything Doug just said, but I don't want to see it once every 2 weeks. I want to see it consistently. All right. Because I don't want to be taking phone calls after games from fans that say they're not going anymore and that they want their money back and they felt like they got ripped off. That's the least you can do as a player for the Sacramento Kings. That's the least that you can do. I agree 100% with that, with Doug. I agree 100%. Hey, I want to talk to you about Village Financial Group. And again, you talk about like loyalty and like friendships. And I'm thankful for a guy that I've known for 25 years, and Spencer Grimmenstein, because he's just a great person. And he has a hell of a business at Village Financial Group. They're really good at what they do. When it comes to real estate, home equity line of credit, buying a home, selling a home, check out Spence at Village Financial Group. He is a financing specialist. He's very creative, and he has access to private money. And he's just fine with texting him. If you don't want to call, you want to just drop him a text, 916-805-4868. Again, home equity line of credit, buying, selling a home, anything to do with real estate, call or text Spence at 916-805-4868 at Village Financial Group. You can check out over 9,000 properties available at vfgloans.com. And be sure, if you call or text Spence, you ask him about the investor special. It makes sense to call Spence at 916-805-4868. Village Financial Group, looking out for your best interest. From the 631, I'm thankful we could listen to local opinions and broadcast all over the country. It's great. I didn't have that when I was growing up or in college. That's why when I went to Bowling Green and you got radio stations from Cleveland, Detroit, and St. Louis, I listened to Ernie Harwell. I listened to Jack Buck. I listened to Herb Score do the Indians. Wow. I listened to some great announcers in the evening hours in college. Grant's Rant, Sean Salisbury next on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Sports traffic. We are still monitoring some delays throughout the entire area, especially on the Cap City Freeway in between Howe Avenue, Marconi Avenue, all the way down to the US 50 interchange. So give yourself extra time through there. I-5 northbound, southbound, anywhere between Del Paso Road all the way down to about 43rd Avenue. You are too encountering some heavy rush hour delays through there. So give yourself that extra time through there. With twice an hour traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
Looking for the ultimate night out? Welcome to HQ Showgirls, Sacramento's premier adult gentlemen's club. We're the only topless club between Reno and San Francisco serving alcohol, beer, wine, and champagne. All inside over 6,000 square feet of pure excitement. Planning a party or a VIP night? Call our VIP manager now at 916-389-0199 to book your table. Come experience the energy at HQ Showgirls, 851 Richards Boulevard, Sacramento. Open 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Sunday through Thursday and until 4 a.m. Friday and Saturday. Visit hqnightclub.com, where the night begins and never stops.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. In Kyle Shanahan's system, the quarterback's job isn't to be Josh Allen, it's to be John Stockton. Distribute, read the defense, keep the offense humming, and avoid the kind of mistakes that derail the offense's operation. Brock Purdy has done a remarkable job. Good enough to guide the Niners to a Super Bowl. But last night, it wasn't that. 3 picks short-circuited an offense built to overwhelm defenses with precision and rhythm. Now, one bad game won't shake the foundation, and it shouldn't. Purdy's contract, his efficiency, command of Shanahan's offense, all of that has earned him the right to stay under center. The Niners aren't polling him for Mac Jones off one rough outing. Still, it's the NFL. Struggles don't live in isolation. If this becomes a pattern, if the turnovers linger, then suddenly the Niners have something other teams crave. A legitimate plan B, and Mac Jones may be the best backup in football. Purdy's still the guy, but the leash grows shorter when the system needs a steward and not a gunslinger. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Maaco's running a paint sale right now, starting at just $499. How about that? Now, if you've been thinking about maybe doing something with your car, don't pass up this opportunity, okay? There's dents, dings, chip paint. Maaco's seen it all. But for this price, take advantage of that, and you could give your ride a fresh look. Free estimate. They'll work with your budget. They'll get the job done fast. No pressure, no judgment, a fresh start, and you're going to have a national warranty to accompany it. And they're community-based, great people to work with, somebody you can trust to make your car look nice. A fresh ride. They've been doing it for over 50 years, and it's easier than ever for you to take advantage of this. Your car could use a little love. Now's the time. But don't wait. These paint sales will not last long. Visit Maaco, that's MAACO.com, and find the nearest location. Schedule that free estimate. And with the paint sale starting at just $499, your car is going to look awesome. Better get Maaco.
Grant's back. Join the conversation every weekday afternoon beginning at 3 p.m. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
It's time for Grant's Rant.
All right, before we get to Sean Salisbury, what do we have for us quickly, Rhino?
Yeah, we don't need to go over it too much. Trayvon Merrick at the end of the last night's 49ers game. What?
Yep.
Kyle Shanahan tell you really quick.
The guy took a cheap shot and hit him in the I was real proud of Juwan for not losing his mind out there and getting him to the sideline.
Grant, I think we might have another thing to add to the list of things there's no excuse for.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw it with Jamar Chase spitting into an opponent's face. Like, what are you thinking about? What are you doing? I mean, that cost $500,000 in a one-game suspension. And then Jamar Chase waits 8 days to apologize. You know what? I don't want an apology after 8 days. And don't give me an apology on Instagram. You want to apologize? Get the camera on you. Speak from the heart. Don't tell me about you are speaking from the heart on Instagram 8 freaking days after it happens. What happened last night? You can't do it. All right, there are cameras everywhere. Like, what are you doing? And now you've been suspended, going to get docked a game check. Stupidity. Asinine. There's nothing more to say than that. Ridiculous, stupid. That's my rant for today. Sean Salisbury. Love when we can talk college and NFL. How are you, buddy? I hope you're on your way to a fabulous Thanksgiving.
I'm excited having a bunch of people over and cooking and throwing down a little bit of everything and all our favorites. It'll be here at the house with family, and so I'm looking forward to it. And I'm already in that spirit, brother. It's my favorite holiday, so I hope you have a great Thanksgiving as well, my man.
You know, you are a holiday guy. I've always known that about you. And when I saw pictures on social media of your house decorated way before Thanksgiving, I'm like, okay, I got to get Salisbury. I got to talk to him about that. Can we at least get the Thanksgiving week, please, before we decorate our homes? But not where you are.
But here's how I look at it. I'm with you. I'm not the guy that wants. I don't start listening to Christmas music, and I do listen to it like country Christmas on Thanksgiving Day. That's when from then until Christmas, I'll listen to music. As far as decorating the house, I would not put this up before Halloween. I would never do that. Halloween, and if you look outside my house, I mean, from the scary stuff and stuff in the yard and all the decorations, big Halloween. So I wait. But for me, Thanksgiving and Christmas, I don't need to wait till that. Then I don't get to enjoy. If I do wait till Thanksgiving, then the week after Thanksgiving, before you know it, it's December 10th. I don't mind people getting the spirit. In my neighborhood, that people had their Christmas lights up before their Halloween lights. Which
See,
is
I can't do that. I can't do it.
Not me either. I can't either. But when I start to creep in a week or 10 days before Halloween, I'm okay. I'm post Halloween. I'm creeping towards Thanksgiving, should I say. To me, Thanksgiving and Christmas kind of bring out both the spirit. We're thinking about Christmas, but we don't have to worry about gifts. That's why this is my favorite Halloween. My favorite holiday. There's no pressure. You get to come over and eat and watch football. And from like 10 o'clock in the morning, the hors d'oeuvre platter, and then the dinner and cooking together and laughing and having wine and watching football and doing it all again at 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock. I love that. And I think it's family and it's nice, but I will not decorate Christmas. You're not going to see Santa Claus up before Halloween, but I will get it about a week before Thanksgiving, 10 days before Thanksgiving, because it kind of gets me. I like the lights on when it's dark or cold out in Thanksgiving. So, but I'm not doing it. I got to go holiday to holiday. But to me, Thanksgiving and Christmas kind of roll together. So when it comes to the decorations.
Sean Salisbury, our guest. All right, so we're going to wait for the Lane Kiffin announcement. Wouldn't he just say he's staying at Ole Miss if that was going to be the case? That's number one. And number two, don't we overrate Lane Kiffin as a coach? I mean, if he gets $100 million, good for him, right? I couldn't fault him if he goes to LSU with $100 million, but he's just the flavor of the day with what's going on. He's in the right place at the right time. And listen, I don't mean to diminish Lane, okay? I don't make it to sound like he can't coach, but he's not as good as we think, is he?
Well, he hasn't won a national championship. He hasn't had his team a national championship game as a head coach. And you know my affinity for him but I'm always going to be honest with you, Grant. If it was my own family, I'll tell you, honestly, I feel I love him. I used to go watch him play high school football with his dad, who was on our Minnesota staff. I love Lane, have forever. But I'm judging by the coaching. Number one is, I'm with you. If you're staying at Ole Miss, why are we waiting? What's the wait? I mean, your kids, and if you've told the kids and tell them that, meaning your kids, your football team, then you're expecting a little momentum for them to go out and play for you. If you're leaving, I'm not letting you coach the playoff. I'm just not, because I can't have you recruiting for LSU and recruiting for Ole Miss at the same time. You can't do both. At least, well, you may be able to do both, but you can't recruit an Ole Miss kid and then tell him that same kid who the next day tell him, oh man, LSU's better for you than Ole Miss is, a day later after you said, this is my place and I'm doing it. So from recruiting and the timing of it, that's for another whole conversation. Overrate. I think we always overrate high-powered offenses when a guy is great with the media. He's got a little sass to him. He's matured over the years from 15 years ago. Grant, he really has. He's kind of taken on where he can be kind of Mike Leach-ish with a different approach, where he can troll you, but now he smiles about it. It used to be when he'd troll you, we were like, he's a 33-year-old arrogant, you know what. And I am joking about that, but I think he's matured with swagger. But if we're just talking about the coaching, he's a great coordinator. He obviously, look what he's done for Ole Miss. Ole Miss was a once-in-a-whiler. Now every year they're winning 9, 10, 11 games, and they're in the hunt. So he should take pride and understand that. I'd love to see him go win it there. But, when we say overrated, I don't think $100 million for a guy who's never won a national championship, I think, doesn't mean he can't coach. But, yes, we've got him already like he's won 4 of them. Imagine what he'd get paid if he'd won 3 national titles.
Yeah.
So, I think in that way. But I get why LSU and Florida and Ole Miss want him. I do at this day and age, because I don't think we have a lot of great coaches, Grant. I don't. So when you're good and have this going.
What makes a great coach, Sean? You played for a great coach at USC. You've been around a lot of coaches. What makes a great coach? Tell me.
One is, well, the leadership has to be there, not forced leadership, natural leadership. You know how I am about buy-in, Grant. My favorite thing is, can you take not a great team and taking a great team and keeping it great like Nick Saban over the long period of time, or Belichick has been huge. To me, prove to me you can take a team that's not very good or doesn't get recruits, get them to come to school there, keep them there, and win with guys that weren't 5-star recruits. And then if you get 5-star recruits, then you better win a national title. So number one is the ability to, and I think when it comes to the X's and O's, to make sure that you're developing them while they're there. I don't want them to come in a 4-star recruit and leave a 2-star recruit. So develop them. But for me, it's buy-in. You can, and a great coach to me hires assistant coaches that you believe could take your job in a second. If you know what I mean, not by backstabbing you, but you hire great assistants. Name me a great head coach that has average assistants over the course of time. Find me one. Find me a great coach that didn't have, when it was Phil Jackson, didn't he have Tex Winter around him all the times, Grant?
Yeah.
Tex Winter wherever he went, right?
Yeah.
Pat Riley had good staff. I mean, it can grow up through that whole group. I mean, for the most part, Belichick, all of his assistants may not have been great head coaches. How many assistants did he have that have gone on to coach at a lot of places? So it's, to me, great assistants, but you've got to get buy-in. And I don't know if that's being a great salesman. I don't know if that's being great. I don't need my head coach to be a great X's and O's guy, because he proved to me he was an X's and O's guy because he got the job as a coordinator being an X's and O's guy. What I need you to do is be able to lead, take your ego out of it, and hire great coaches that do know the X's and O's and maximize the ability in the room. Take a 6 and make him an 8. Take an 8 and keep him an 8.5. Take a 10 and make sure he buys in. Create competition where you don't lose the guy that's not playing. And if you want to know if a guy's a great coach, go talk to the guys who aren't playing. Go talk to the guys who are backups. Go talk to the guys who didn't play for 3 years or 4 years, played a little bit or ran on special teams but couldn't win a job. Those guys, a lot of them will complain, well, I'm better than the guy in front of me. If those guys are telling you what kind of guy commands the room and leads, then you'll know. It's easy for a starter to say it. It's hard for a backup. And if a backup's telling you the guy can coach, that's where you know, because those are the guys you got to dig down deep. It's like being able to win when you're not playing your best. It's being able to coach when you don't have the best. And Lane Kiffin's got some of that in him. Look what he's done at Ole Miss, Grant. He's put them on the map consistently, like we said. But the question is, can he get them over the hump? And if he leaves, it won't just be for money. He'll be telling you loud and clear, the reason I left is I didn't think I could win a national championship at Ole Miss. Because Ole Miss isn't going to be far off money-wise, Grant. Neither is Florida if he goes to LSU, or LSU if he goes to Florida. They're not going to be that far off, right? If you're Ole Miss and you want him, match it. It is going to come down to, where does Lane Kiffin think he can win a national championship? And secondly, Grant, the one thing you're going to get out of this, as much as I love him, they're going to treat it almost like a basketball player that chases a title. Does he have to keep going? SC, Tennessee, Raiders. Does he have to go somewhere that where he knows he can win it, as opposed to a place where what Dabo did at Clemson? Whether you like Dabo right now or not, but what he did, he went to a place that was kind of like Ole Miss, wins sometimes, but not a lot, because, they'll win, and turned it into a 2-time national champion. Now, they're struggling now because he doesn't buy into NIL and the transfer portal, but Lane does. So that's the question. I love Lane, but hard to live up to. It's rare that a $100 million coach lives up to $100 million, regardless of where he goes.
Sean, last night, the 49ers in an ugly game against Carolina. Brock Purdy, 3 interceptions in the first half. From your perspective, bad reads, bad throws? How do you break it down for me?
Late. Listen, that's what the 49ers are, a sometime this year. With much respect, but sometimes they look really good. Sometimes they've got a lot of injuries, and sometimes they look really bad. They were fortunate they got Carolina's offense on a night when 49ers defense put it on them. Because if you're playing the Rams last night, you get beat by 3 touchdowns. If you're playing if you're playing a good, when Buffalo's right, or you're playing the Patriots curb stomped San Francisco last night. Because, and Brock is one of those guys, and I do not mean that, I'm not demeaning him either, diminishing his skill set, because I'm a fan and you know it.
Yes.
But he is a great inside the system of playing in rhythm. He's late. Go listen. I think Kyle, I said on my show earlier today on the noon, and I think Kyle might have said this close to the same thing. When I watched, I saw him late, And when you're late, especially when don't have Mahomes or Matthew Stafford's arm, you got to be accurate. That's what made Breeze so good. He wasn't overly physically arm gifted, but you know what he did? He anticipated, threw on time with accuracy, so the ball didn't hit the ground. So even if he was late, he was still early because he had great anticipation. And that's how Brock lives. He's not physically gifted enough to be late and still take a hitch and throw to a tight window like Stafford, Mahomes, or Allen would be able to do because they're just overly physically gifted, like Elway could. He has got to be in rhythm and accuracy. So when you're late, panic sets in, and then desperation, and then your mechanics aren't the same. And then if you miss a little bit, that ball's intercepted. You saw it 3 times. Now, the good thing about the 49ers, they found a way to win against the team that had a chance to be in first place, Carolina. They found a way to win when they played ugly, but we're rarely seeing this year the 49ers play great football on both sides of the ball 2, 3, 4 games in a row. Last night, that team last night, if they're in the playoffs, is eliminated in the first round, regardless of who they're playing. So their offense is going to have to get better. So for Brock can't be like, think about the Dolphins too. When Tua is in rhythm, boy, man, they're going. They're not physical, but they're finesse. Boy, it's great. But make him take a hitch on when he's got a slant, he's late. His arm strength isn't. He's not explosive enough and dynamic enough to make plays that aren't on time. Brock is probably a little more gifted than him with his feet, underrated athlete, but he's got to be in rhythm on time. He's just not an off schedule, I'll make that throw late guy. And when you miss him and you're late, you're inaccurate and you're late, it ends up being a disaster for your team. They were just fortunate their defense played well. They are going to have to play better, not only to get in, but when they get in, they will get boat raced if they don't fix that offensive side of the ball. He has got to be in rhythm and on time. Unacceptable if you're playing a good team.
Sean, 2 things. The debut of Shedeur Sanders, what did you think? And are you bothered by his post-game press conference on the field? Do we make too much out of that, or do you read into that?
We probably do. I understand the first win excitement, Grant. That part I do. I do. And I'm not defending one way or the other. I don't judge him by his last name. I could care less. I'm judging by straight football on the field, what he does as a teammate, as a player, the football IQ, all those things. Now, listen, I get the excitement of a first win. And remember now, he's never really had to compete a day in his life. He's a good player, I think. He was a good college player, not a great one. He seems to have, he knows how to take a hit. He's got a lot to learn, but he was decent, but he didn't have to compete in high school, didn't have to compete in college, either place. And this is the first time he's had to compete because he's always had the job handed to him. Now, whether you call that entitlement because his dad or what have you, and there's a sense of it. And I think that's what bothers people when he makes those comments, and it's more me about me, and I'm not going to. I don't have a problem with saying people want to see me fail, but they're wrong. I'm not going to fail. I don't have a problem if he says that on a Wednesday. But after that game, the excitement, your teammates, Myles Garrett just got 3 more sacks. You came up with a win. Isn't that a we, them? Don't worry about me. I got to play better. Think about how he shifts the narrative. Even if he didn't believe it. Sometimes you got to BS them, your teammates and the rest. Instead of we won a game, we're not very good, but you don't need to say it. Listen, our defense was spectacular. I got better this week, I think, at throwing the ball away and made some better decisions, but I got a long way to go. I'm fortunate that I was able to be a part of getting our first win. But, man, I got to play better if we're going to beat the 49ers next week. And some guys made some big plays in space, but I got a lot to learn, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity. Now, think how that narrative goes as opposed to nobody really cares. They're talking negative. They want to see you fail. It's not like you threw 7 touchdowns and set the world on fire. You still failed through a pit. You still made mistakes in the game. You got to win. So I understand the excitement of the win, but somewhere along the line, it's almost as if that it's never him that made the mistake. And I think you could go a long way in leadership of saying, let's make it about my teammates. If on Wednesday or Thursday somebody says, well, you evaluated your performance, you missed some, you made some really good off schedule, you made some bad decisions and made some in between. So he was mid, he was okay, but he won. And I care about that. And he got better than he was the week before throwing the ball away. But imagine if he says, yeah, man, when somebody says, well, how do you think the people feel? Well, the perception. For a guy who says he doesn't care what people think or pay attention to it, and he has said that, so he sure knows what they're saying.
Sure does.
So he does pay attention. That's exactly right. So the swagger's okay with me, But I think there's a timing or a place. That should have been all about us. If somebody asks you on Wednesday during the week, hey, man, there's a lot of people who seem to want to see you fail on social media, whether you know that or not. He's going to say, that's okay. Wouldn't it be better to say, it's okay, there is a lot of people who want to see me fail, but isn't that the way the world works? And I'm not going to fail because I got great teammates and I'm going to get better. It would have been so much easier. He could shift the narrative. So we look at him as entitled. If somebody else would have said what he said, we'd say, oh, what a competitor. So we are unfair in that way. But part of the entitlement is that it gets fed into by him, even though I think he seems to be a good kid. He's not getting anybody in trouble, but he's entitled. The best way to do that is to shift it from you, and that's part of leadership, to your teammates or the good stuff. I always say this: when it goes bad, take the blame. When it goes good, shift the narrative to your teammates. I always believe that, because we saw the game. We know what he did good, and we also know some of the bad things he did, and he will too. So, but it was a win, and he should be excited. But there's going to be, and he'll learn it over the course of time, I would like to think, because it's going to be a lot tougher. And it was tough. It was going to be a lot tougher succeeding every week in the NFL than it was throwing for 380 at Colorado, but getting beat by 2 touchdowns. And knowing that no matter what you did, you were playing the next week. Go ahead and have 2 bad games in this one, and Dylan Gabriel will be back in the lineup. So I like the kid. I think he did some good things, but my evaluation of him, he got a win, which is number one. He was okay. He did for his first start. He got through it. Let's put it that way.
Sean, one of the things I love about you is you wear your feelings on your sleeve. You're not afraid to express your emotions. You've been on top of the mountain. You've been rock bottom. You've changed people's lives, like Russell on Christmas morning and that story. As we approach this holiday season, and particularly Thanksgiving on Thursday, what do you think of the most at Thanksgiving?
Grant, you know what? First off, is my dad. I miss both my mother and father, because my dad, this was his favorite holiday. My dad loved family, to sit around, and he loved small talk. And he didn't talk much. He just loved. He was a guy who'd love to laugh at people's jokes. He loved that family was together. I think about my dad because he would be proud of how I overcame. He was always proud of the good stuff. I mean, he'd come home from a 12-hour day in Arizona in 115-degree weather working construction. But he never said, I'm too tired to go catch a ball for you. Matter of fact, he was the one who said, come on, boy, let's go back. And he'd still have his work boots on. And my mother was an unbelievable support, but she just let my dad do his thing with me. And my dad never, ever let anything get in the way of making sure his family had everything, when we really didn't have that much, but we sure thought we did. So I miss him. I miss the family together. And every routine I do on Thanksgiving is because that's what my family did. And my dad was at the forefront of it. To say, he loved it. He friggin' loved it. And he was a man of minimal words. So he's the first thing. And the second thing, Grant, is we all go through, and, a lot of times on social media or the rest of us, people will all let us know how great our lives are. And that's fine and dandy. When we all know we got problems, and the person sitting next to you may have problems, or may be homeless, or the person sitting next to them may have lost a job. And it's ironic, at this time of year, people get rid of people as opposed to bring them on. And so there's a lot of people. I think the next thing comes to my mind is, from humans to animals at this time of year, there is somebody out there that we're going to celebrate our great feelings of Thanksgiving. And that's okay. You shouldn't apologize for that. But just to kind of be kind, I know it sounds cheesy, because there are a lot of people that this is the worst time of their life. They lost a dad or a mom on Thanksgiving Day. Christmas time evokes memories of getting booted from their home, or losing a loved one, or a family friend, or their spouse, because and they're spending Christmas or Thanksgiving alone. It's okay. They're not going to bite to ask somebody if they need a place to eat for 3 or 4 hours of your day. It's really what may discomfort you because there's somebody new at your table, may very well be the 3 hours that changes and shifts the paradigm on somebody else's life. That's truthfully, I think about the good food and what a glutton I'm going to be, and the laughs and the nap, and then getting back up and family. But it's my dad first, and all the people that I want him to celebrate and have a blast, but that you're not going to get a disease by having somebody sit at your table that may not look like you, talk like you, act like you, or have the ability to go eat like you do. And it's okay, because and even if you can't, something you may say to them at a time, even when you're going, I always admire people that when they're going through bad times, they still give to others as if they were going through good times. And I think that's on my mind, because this holiday more than any, because it's so simple to be kind. It's not about gifts. It's about brotherhood and friends. I think about teammates I've lost. I think about memories. I think about it all. But I do think about others, because I try not to over celebrate what I'm doing on Thanksgiving, because I know somebody that's reading it is waking up saying, man, I wish I had that. And I think about guys like Bernie Kosar, friends like that laying in bed not knowing if he's going to come out of surgery and if it's going to work. And I talked to Bernie today on text, Grant, and what a human being. For him to tell us last week to be happy and enjoy and love life and ask us how we're doing and have a happy holiday, and he's fighting for his friggin' life. And I talked on you, Grant, you would have thought Bernie just won Powerball. That's how much this guy loves life. And so I think about him and other people, and it makes me feel good, because it also brings back with all this politics and the stuff we're talking about when we're mad at sports, Grant. It brings back the things of, it kind of renews my belief that for a few days at least, that there are good people out there. It really does. And so those are the things that come to my mind. And I'm far more grateful for the things people have done for me, and they've made a far bigger difference than I have in somebody else's life. I can sure as hell do a lot more.
Amen. Amen. Love you, buddy. Happy Thanksgiving to you. I appreciate the
Love
heck
you
out of
too.
you.
Always, brother. Happy Thanksgiving to you, and I appreciate you as a difference maker and as a friend.
Thank you, buddy. Be well. Talk to you soon.
All right, bud.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. You too. Okay.
What a great segment. Just love having him on every week. Blessed and thankful to know Sean Salisbury. Another guy I've known for a long time is Spencer, broker owner at Village Financial Group. I've talked about his business a lot because I've known him for 25 years. I've actually done business with him, family owned. And when it comes to real estate, he's so experienced. He's a financing specialist. He has access to private money. If you're looking for a home equity line of credit, are you selling a home or are you buying a home? You want someone that is experienced, that is a financing specialist, that has been there, done it, and will do it again for you. You can call or text Spencer at 916-805-4868. That's 916-805-4868. There are a lot of properties available right now, and with rates favorable, take advantage. You go to vfgloans.com. You'll find over 9,000 properties available for purchase. It makes sense to call Spence at 916-805-4868. Village Financial Group, looking out for your best interest. We'll open up the phone lines when we come back at 916-779-0929 right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Sports traffic. We are still monitoring some delays throughout the entire area, especially on the Cap City Freeway in between Howe Avenue, Marconi Avenue, all the way down to the US 50 interchange. So give yourself extra time through there. I-5 northbound, southbound, anywhere between Del Paso Road all the way down to about 43rd Avenue. You are too encountering some heavy rush hour delays through there. So give yourself that extra time through there. With twice an hour traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
Tired of the same old routine? Need a place where the beer flows and the good times roll? Then head to Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, 1833 Fulton Avenue. Family owned and operated, so you know you'll feel right at home. Catch all your favorite games on 18 big screens while enjoying amazing food. And with 28 beers on tap, you're sure to find something you love. And don't miss everyday happy hour from 3 to 7 and again from 10 till close. Looking for more than just the game? Trivia Tuesday starts at 7 p.m. And there's Mario Kart and bingo nights for even more fun, too. There's always a blast happening at Fieldhouse. Whether you're looking for a place to watch the game, grab a bite with the family, or just unwind with friends, Fieldhouse is the place to be. Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, 1833 Fulton Avenue. Bring it to the house.
For more than 4 decades, Sierra Pacific Home and Comfort has been trusted by home and business owners for their professional expertise in heating, air conditioning, and solar energy. Your home is your castle, and at Sierra Pacific, we thank you for 40 great years of trusting us to protect your castle. Sierra Pacific Home and Comfort, solar, heating, and air. SierraPacificHome.com.
Sierra Pacific Solar Heating and Air. The guys in the big red trucks.
Been a fun show today. I've really enjoyed this. Appreciate all of your comments. 916-779-0929. Talking about announcers, talking about some of the great individuals that I've worked with, reminiscing with Sean Salisbury, and many other things. Going over the Kings' win last night. Very impressive. The 49ers win. Not very impressive. But you know what? They did win. That's 8 wins. And guess what? That's the name of the game. That's what you need to do. So really good. Really good show. I've really enjoyed that. And we've got some more sound that we're going to use also relating to the Kings. But first, let's get to a phone call or two. And we say hello to Lynn. Lynn, welcome to the show.
Grant, how are you doing? Been a good show today. Good show on Monday.
Thank you. When do you leave for Germany? You leave tomorrow?
I leave on Thursday.
Oh, Thursday. Great. That's right. I forgot.
So I want to go to the NFL. It seems like every week we think there's a good team, and they just find a way to lose. And this week's victim was the Philadelphia Eagles. What is up with that, Grant? With every week, the team that we think is going to be a team that we can believe in just stumbles like they did.
Yeah, the Eagles were up 21-0. I don't know. I watched that game, and I still don't know. I watched the game. I watched it live, and then I went back and watched the 40-minute condensed conversion. I still don't know how they lost that game.
Yeah, it just seems like every week there's a team that we think is going to be good, and they're just going to lose. And it's going to be interesting playoffs because you don't know what's going to happen. I want to move over to the F1 race. And, man, if I was McLaren, I will be worried about that freight train called Max because he is heading to take those guys
He
out.
absolutely schooled Lando Norris on the first 150 meters of the race. The race was over before they got out of turn 1 in Vegas. The race was over. Lando Norris thought that he was going to be Mr. Tough Guy and like kind of be aggressive. And Max kind of like swatted him away like a fly. And then, as we know, the McLarens were disqualified, which really opens up the door for Max with 2 races left and a sprint. This is going to be a fun finish, a really fun finish as they go to Qatar this week.
Right now, Lando is up 24 points to his teammate and to Max, 58 points available. I heard Ryan was commenting with the people going up the stairs and down. I got a funny comment for you, Ryan. Actually, I saw a guy online was posting. He was watching it free on all of the NDOT cameras. So NDOT is kind of like Caltrans. You know how they have traffic cameras? And a lot of these streets around the casinos are, we'll call Nevada highways. And people were watching the race free on the Nevada cameras. It was hilarious. I was seeing postings on it. That was the funniest thing, kind of like what Ryan was talking about, people going up the escalators trying to get a view. But I thought that was funny on the NDOT cameras.
Yep.
All right, man, I'll give you a call in a couple weeks when I get back. You guys both have a great Thanksgiving with your families. And
safe travels
always
to you.
Appreciate the time, Grant.
Thank you, buddy. Safe travels. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you.
All right, let's bring Rhino in here. Ryan, I want to get back to some of the things that stuck out to you last night as it relates to the Kings as they get ready for the Phoenix Suns tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just get to Doug right away on the significance of last night's win.
You know, like Max, for a young player, I just continue to watch him grow, and his ability to communicate on the floor is at a high level. Then he's willing to go 1 through 5, try to keep a guard in front of him, understand where his help is at, send him that way, be physical. Keegan and Precious just continues to impress his ability to switch and communicate. I can't say enough about Keegan. Keegan guards everybody on the floor. You know, from the point guard to Rudy Gobert. And that's a special gift and a willingness of a teammate to sacrifice of themselves, because as somebody who did that, I know that on that end of the floor it can be quite taxing. And then for him to go on the other end of the floor and still find his way, just coming back now, his third game was really big. But the ability to switch across the board helps us keep people in front of us. And it's something that we will look to do going forward when we have the ability in the matchups.
So that was not the significance of last night's win. That was my question to Doug about the front line that was very important last night, Grant. The Precious, Keegan, and Max front line, it showed a little bit more of their versatility, a little bit more athleticism, and more importantly, the ability to switch. All three of them spoke to the media today, and similar sentiments were echoed. I did ask Keegan about the same thing. What's that mean for him playing with that front line, and whether or not he really kind of likes it? And here's what Keegan had to say.
I think we were able to switch 1 through 5, which is, I feel like, has been big for us because it makes us stay in our defense, our standard defense. And I think we held Minnesota like 101 points or something like that in 4 quarters. And I think we made it tough on them with our rotations. And Precious has been really good. I feel like he's gotten more comfortable the longer he's been here. And he was a spark plug for us for sure today.
That feels like, Grant, a rotation that we're going to start to see more because, as Doug said, it allows them to stay in front of people, and that's been a major problem this entire season.
It has been a major problem, and we've already seen a big difference in the last 2 games. Now it's about consistency, right? It's about consistency. We want to see, and I'm not even I'm not talking about wins and losses here, Ryan. I'm talking about competitiveness.
Absolutely. DeMar DeRozan talked about that. In fact, Doug and actually all three last night were asked about identity. And we're so early in the season, and all of them said it's not about identity quite yet. You can't make that jump. It's consistency first.
I want to see the Kings. And again, I'm talking about effort. I want them to show me that they want to play basketball and that they care about what they're doing. There have been too many games this year where I have turned the TV off at the end of the game and been like, you ripped me off. You wasted 2.5 hours of my life because you didn't care.
Yeah.
And you played like you didn't care. When I watch the Phoenix Suns, when I watch even the Utah Jazz, who only have 5 wins, when I watch Portland, I never get that feeling with them. Even when they get blown out, I'm like, that team really likes what they're doing. They play spirited. They're into it. There were in too many times this year I haven't gotten that feeling from the Kings, and I want that.
I agree. In terms of toughness, in terms of setting a standard of, playing through things, Domantas Sabonis is kind of that leader. But I wonder now with Keegan back, because I don't see Keegan ever going to some of the places that we saw some of the players with the effort. In fact, those players would look even worse because you have Keegan going so hard. I wonder if that's going to pick up the accountability level because you have a guy that's going that hard on the defensive end that almost you have to try to match that energy.
I think it can only help. It can't make it worse. And what the Kings now are, they're in a very fragile state right now in this sense. They know they're not going to have Sabonis for several weeks. And even though Precious Achiuwa has been good, and I like the physicality, and I like him coming off the bench now.
Yeah.
But they're one injury away on the front line from having real problems right now. So this is a very critical 3 to 4 week stretch until you can get Sabonis back.
It's a great observation because you lose somebody else. You're looking at putting someone into the lineup. And Drew Eubanks has been pretty good. I thought he's been better on offense than he has been on defense, but he's brought some athleticism. He's not a guy that can switch like those three can. And that's a little bit more limited. Now, Keegan was asked last night a really interesting question. I thought it was a great question. I found his response a little bit interesting. He said, the question was, what were your observations about this team watching them not play well? And what do you want to do a little bit better or want to see the team do better now that you're back? Here's what Keegan had to say.
I just think it was energy-wise. I think we're at times we're kind of trying to have them miss shots instead of force them to miss shots. I think my energy getting up and down the court in transition was something that I wanted to pick up when I came back, and just little things on the defensive end, blocking shots, getting offensive rebounds, those little things, and trying to shoot more threes because that's something that in the league is kind of a trend now with the good teams. And for us to win games, we have to shoot more threes, and we have a lot of good shooters on this team.
I love Keegan Murray, man. I really do. I just like his whole approach. I like the way he answers questions. I like the way he deals with the media. He doesn't take plays off. Like, what is there not to like about that guy?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Honestly, nothing. You want to have some fun?
It.
You want to play some Doug Christie roulette since I misnumbered?
Yes.
The cuts. Okay. You can pick from number 2, 3, or 4.
Okay. Let's go 2, 3, or 4. Let's go Derek Jeter, number 2.
All right. Here we go.
Yeah, I think that Keegan he's a special player, man. I mean, because when you have the ability to do so many different things and affect the game in so many different ways, like scratch the 26 points, that kid went and got 15 rebounds, and he guarded the best player in the post and on the perimeter. So he guarded their big man and he guarded their guard. Like, what are you going to do? Then he knocks down big shots. Just really good stuff, man. Really good stuff. Super proud of and for him because he's put in work. He has the hand, he gets it handled, stays in shape, stays locked in, and comes back and contributes. And he does it in a spectacular way that is very Keegan-esque. Yeah.
You couldn't have picked a better drop.
I love it. Well, you
right
can't go
on
wrong
time.
with Derek Jeter. Like, but you gotta take that into account.
One guy we're not talking enough about right now from last night is Malik Monk. And we can point to the 7-0 run that he had that really spurred that comeback at the end of the game. But he was both attacking Anthony Edwards all night on offense, and he did not back down on the defensive end guarding Anthony Edwards as well.
No sound?
No, I was just just talking about you.
Okay.
I was kicking that to you, my friend.
You're talking. Okay. So, well, I like players. Forget about Keegan Murray for a minute. Or I like players that when I put them into a lineup, I know what I'm going to get from them on most nights, and I always know what I'm going to get from them in a certain area. So, like if you're talking about baseball, okay, I may have a catcher that may not be Cal Raleigh, but maybe a tremendous defensive catcher, but doesn't have a great bat. But I put him in the lineup because I know he's going to handle my pitchers the same way every game. He's not going to have pass balls. He's got a gun to second base, and he calls a great game. And I can count on him doing that, even though he might bat 230 or 240 and not have a lot of RBIs. I can live with that. I can live with a player going through a slump if he brings his glove to the field and is a gold glove fielder. I'm okay with that. I don't expect Keegan Murray to do what he did last night offensively every game, but I do expect him to play defense the way he did last night every game. And I know that he can do it because that's how he plays every night. There is that level of comfort as a coach when you have players like that. It's almost like DeMar DeRozan offensively. You know what you're going to get defensively. He's not very good. You have to live with that. But if you think about this, when we talk about DeRozan, not only here in Sacramento, but really throughout his career, has there really been that many players and I mean this, Ryan, in the history of the NBA that have been more consistent offensively than DeMar DeRozan throughout his career? And again, you may not love his defense and you may have a problem with that, but when you talk about just his offense, it's consistency. It's there almost every night. That's a beautiful thing if you're a coach and you have players like that.
You know what I want to throw in there too? It's fundamentals. DeMar is so good at the fundamentals. That's why he draws so many fouls and he has his entire career. It's why part of the reason he's why He's 24th now on the scoring list. It's part of the reason why he gets to the free throw line so many times. There's something to be said about that. And I think Keegan, not from the offensive standpoint, but Keegan is very, very fundamental. If you just watch his footwork, everything's clean. It's professional. It's dependable.
Why don't we take a time out and wrap up this Tuesday edition of the Grant Napear Show? Reminder, I will be on YouTube tonight at 7 o'clock, 1 hour after the conclusion of this show. We'll do it all over again over on YouTube if you don't like that. And, of course, tomorrow, the postgame show, Jerry Reynolds, Rhino, yours truly, right after the Kings and the Suns. Final segment next, Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Sports traffic as we take one final look at the roadways for this day before Thanksgiving. Heavy rush hour delays and travel delays throughout all of Sacramento, especially on Cap City Freeway, I-5 and US 50. Allow yourself lots of extra time to get your way through there, especially if you're heading out to the airport this evening. Allow yourself extra time because it is the busiest travel day of the year. With twice an hour traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
Okay, we are running a car drive right now to help veterans all across America. So if you have an old car, truck, or van, even a motorcycle or an RV sitting around, you can right now give it away and help the vets. They really need your help. And your car will help support the vets and their families. And guess what? You even get a tax donation. Plus, we'll even come and pick up your car for free. And all you've got to do is pick up your phone right now and make a free call. Now is the perfect time to do something good for the vets. Give back to the vets right now for all they've done for this country, and your old car can really help them. So call the Veterans Car Donation Program right now for free pickup of your vehicle. Help the vets and help your taxes at the same time. Call right now.
800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. That's 800-598-0539.
Hey, it's Grant Napear. Let me talk to you about my friends at DAS Mechanical. If you're considering renovating and or retrofitting your home in 2026, then you need DAS. My friend Nick Delancey's family, they have years of retrofitting experience. They are awesome, and they do both residential and commercial properties. Next year's nearly here, so the time is now. Plan ahead, and the company to plan ahead with is DAS. Don't procrastinate. Make the call. Discuss your renovation project. Get their expert estimate and get your project on DSA's 2026 calendar. Trust me when I say trust Nick and DAS Mechanical. You can book everything online at dasmechanical.org. That's D as in dog, A-S as in Sam, mechanical.org. Check out all of their 5-star reviews and their numerous Best of the Best awards. That's dasmechanical.org.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
Hi, it's Margot from Bennett's Restaurants. Looking for the best happy hour in town? Head to Bennett's, where every day from 2 to 6, you'll find flavor, fun, and serious value. Enjoy over 10 wines by the glass, country club-style cocktails like lemon drops, skinny margaritas, and crave-worthy share plates. Short rib tacos, chicken wings, calamari, and more, starting at just $6. It's upscale without the uptight. 3 locations, Roseville, Rockland, and Sacramento. Join us today or check out the menu at bennettsrestaurants.com.
Final segment. Been a good show today, Rhino. I've really enjoyed this, talking about a lot of different topics as we get ready for Thanksgiving. So we were talking with Salisbury about decorations, right? Now that it is the week of Thanksgiving, I'm okay about talking about Christmas and Christmas decorations, but I'm really bothered by those that put it up before Halloween or shortly after Halloween. Like, it cheapens the holiday to me. Just my opinion, but that's how I feel.
I'm bothered by the people that don't take it down until spring.
Yeah, what is the deal with that?
Taking them down, it's the come down, right, Grant? It's the end of the sugar high. Everything's past. You should kind of take them down maybe before New Year's, but then you push it to that holiday, and then it's just like, oh, man, what's our next major thing coming up?
Yeah, I don't understand that either. I mean, to me, it's like, I don't know about other families, but our decorations were always down by the 2nd or the 3rd of January. You know, you leave it up for New Year's and then boom. You don't want to do it on January 1st. I get that. But normally by the 2nd or the 3rd, everything's packed and put away.
Or there's the people that wait a couple days to celebrate the holiday because they get everything on like 50% discount. The Christmas tree, 30% of the normal cost. Decorations, half off.
What about the people that leave their lights up all year and just only put them on during the holidays? What is that all about?
I have not seen very many of those.
No, there aren't very many, but there are some.
See, I have seen the people that will slowly keep the same stuff out, but tweak it briefly. So you're not really ever taking anything away. You're just adding to each year. It's really funny to see those.
So, one of my favorite rants, right, is my Christmas rant.
Yes.
So has that changed at all? Or have you experienced what I experienced when I went to my local supermarket or stores and I'm checking out and I would be asked, are you ready for Christmas? Like, I did a whole rant on that. And I would be asked that.
Yes.
December 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. And I just never understood why I would be asked that question. First of all, what would happen if I'm Jewish and I celebrate Hanukkah and I don't celebrate Christmas?
Sure.
Right? I'm just giving you an example of why would you ever ask a stranger? Now, if it's a friend, that's a very appropriate question. I would have no problem. Not that guys talk like that, but I would not have a problem if somebody asked me, that was a friend of mine, if I'm ready for Christmas. But a stranger, somebody that I don't know because I'm at the store and I'm checking out, ask me if I'm all ready for Christmas. Like, what is that all about?
It's a conversation starter. It's a slightly upgraded, how about this weather, right? This time of year. Are y'all ready for Christmas?
And the other one that drives me crazy, what are your plans today? Really? No, I get asked that all the time. What are your plans for today? Seriously. Well, I'm going to go home and have sex with my wife. What else would you like to know? No, I'm serious.
Jerry Reynolds. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Jerry, what would the response reaction be if I answered the question that way? I mean, seriously, I get what are your plans for the rest of the day? Really? You don't know me? You want to know my plans for the rest of the day? Like, what kind of question is that?
We're getting deep. Okay. I got another one for you.
Okay.
It is what it is. What is it?
Unbelievable. I know. Listen, Rhino, you're going to drive me crazy here. You know that, right?
Yes. Taking you down that road.
You're going to drive me crazy. You're going to get me in trouble, too.
What's wrong with us?
Many things. Many things. Many things. All right. So tomorrow, 3:00, after I do the show this evening in 1 hour at 7:00, 3:00, 6:00, we'll have a kind of a Thanksgiving theme tomorrow. Chris Landry is going to come on, LandryFootball.com. But tomorrow we'll do a Thanksgiving themed show. What you're thankful for in sports. All right. Because I want people to tell me tomorrow what they're thankful in terms of sports. Because this is a sports show and I don't want to deviate too far off. So we'll do that tomorrow, beginning at 3:00.
Can I give mine now to set the tone since you
Yes.
kind of gave yours? I am thankful for the Kings giving us either an A or an F.
An A or an F.
Correct.
Okay.
Be
All right.
really, really good where everybody's super excited, or be awful because then you got content on both sides.
Okay. Wow. All right. So I'll tell you tomorrow what I'm thankful for because we're going to do a 3-hour show on it. So I don't want to give it away tonight. I'm thankful for many things, but I want to get this question because it's been one of the themes that we've done today. It has to do with announcers. This is from the 279. For announcers, do I think that Doc Emmerich, who was the lead voice for the National Hockey League and the New Jersey Devils, had the best chemistry? And he talks about Eddie Olczyk. It would be hard not to have really good chemistry with Eddie O because he's a great person. I'm going to try to get Eddie on during the holidays. Eddie's one of my favorites. He's just a great, great person. Grew up in Chicago. His dream was to play for the Chicago Blackhawks and did play for the Chicago Blackhawks. Was diagnosed with colon cancer and went through a really hard period of time in his life, and thankfully got through that, wrote a book, which is a phenomenal book. Eddie Olczyk and Doc Emmerich had great chemistry. It would be hard not to have great chemistry when you're working with Eddie O. Did you ever watch? You didn't watch a lot of hockey, did you?
Not a ton. But I have seen Eddie O do a broadcast. It's good. It's really
He's great.
Yeah.
He's
Hey,
phenomenal.
I'm not going to let you off the hook. You've been talking about broadcasters and you ducked a question. Would love Grant's opinion on Jim Ross or Bobby Heenan.
I don't know who they are.
You don't know who Jim Ross or Bobby Heenan are?
No.
You want to talk about chemistry? Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan. That was chemistry.
I don't. So we're talking WWE, is that right?
I'm dragging you down, buddy.
I'm sorry. I didn't respond to that question because I didn't know who they were.
I know. I immediately knew that you were not going to get that. I thought you might get Bobby Heenan. But
Get who?
Bobby Heenan.
No.
The Weasel. Yeah. Oh, man. But you know what? Just go and look up tonight. If you have 5 minutes, instead of scrolling through your phone, look up 5 minutes of Bobby Heenan commentating.
Okay. How long has he been doing it?
He's passed away now, unfortunately.
Oh.
But he was.
See, I've never even heard of him before.
So him and Gorilla Monsoon. Just look at 10 minutes of Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan together.
Okay.
It is
I probably
classic.
I'm obviously have heard the voice. It just didn't ring a bell to me.
Yeah. They're great. Now Jim Ross, he's more new era, but a legendary wrestling announcer.
Okay.
You know Joe
I
Tess.
will do that.
You know Joe
I will do
Tess
that.
made the jump. He's doing some WWE now.
Who did?
Joe Tessador.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah.
You know what? I did read that about Joe. I did read that he was getting into that he was hired for that. So does he do a good job?
Does a great job. A little bit rough at first. Now he gets it and does an awesome job on Monday Night Raw.
Okay. You're not addicted, right? You just enjoy WWE. Would I say you're addicted to it?
No, I just enjoy it. It's like it's a male soap opera.
Okay.
You know?
Are you a Cam Scatterbo? Like you're that into it like him?
No, not where I'm going to be yelling at people and fighting the heels. Not like that.
Okay.
No.
All right.
But I did fly halfway across the country to go to a show. So I don't know. Maybe I need to
you
be
went to
tested on
Dallas,
that.
right?
Yeah, I did.
How was that?
Amazing.
Was it?
Incredible.
Okay.
Got to see John Cena on his retirement tour.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Can't take that away from me.
Awesome. All right. Appreciate you, Rhino. And we will let everyone know that the first hour of today's show will be replayed in a couple of moments. My thanks to Sean Salisbury. My thanks to you. And if you are traveling, please be safe. Please be safe. We want to make sure that you're with us through the weekend because, unfortunately, there are accidents, many, during Thanksgiving week. Don't be part of the statistics. Be careful. All right? Be careful. Stay safe. 7 o'clock tonight, YouTube. If you don't like that, looking forward to it. Tomorrow, 3 o'clock, right back here on Fox Sports Sacramento. My thanks to Sean Salisbury. For Rhino, Grant Napear saying so long, and thanks for listening to the Grant Napear Show on Fox Sports Radio Sacramento. Bye-bye.
Cameron, I just think we need to, see other people.
Are you trading me in?
No. A trade-in is what I'm getting from Kitchen Mart.
A trade-in?
Right now, Kitchen Mart's offering a $750 credit when you trade in your old kitchen countertops for something worth showing off, like granite, marble, or solid surface.
I'm not worth showing off?
Not like the stunning new quartz countertops Kitchen Mart just installed for Karen and Tom.
Huh.
Durable, easy cleanup, made their kitchen look brand new. And Kitchen Mart gave them a $750 trade-in credit to haul off their ugly old tile and grout countertop.
You're dumping me.
That's harsh. You want me to wait till I get the new countertops from Kitchen Mart?
At least hold off till Wednesday. I'm seeing Susan.
Susan!
Now's the perfect time to trade up to beautiful new quartz, granite, marble, or solid surface countertops. Because for a limited time, Kitchen Mart's offering a $750 trade-in credit for your old countertops. Go to kitchenmart.com today and schedule a free in-home consultation and save $750 off new countertops.
No one does it better than
kitchenmart.com.
The holidays are here, and Gabrud Services is here for any electrical need or emergency. Holiday periods put more stress on your home's electrical system, more activity, more lights being used, increased appliance use, and more. Here are 3 holiday electrical reminders from the good dudes at Gabrud's. 1, there's still time for Gabrud's to inspect your home's electrical integrity. 2, Gabrud's are the experts in backup generator installation with